not ready to go yet, okay? I'm not ready. You gotta wait. I got shit to do. I'm in the middle of something, all right? Just hold on.
Watch your mouth or don't come in here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, people, come on, we're adults here.
You know what? What is the point?
Yeah, we're adults here. I got a fucking Burger King fucking thing on my head. We're all fucking adults here, guys. People in my chat, 2 words. What are they? 2 words. Let me see the chat flood. Let me see the chat flood. 2 words. Okay, next caller. Please. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, which translate in American to dick and balls.
I got flip-flops. These are my flip-flops. Yeah, I really like my flip-flops because I can put them on. Because look, watch me put them on. I can put them on all by myself. Watch me put them on. Look, are you watching? Look, these are my flip-flops.
Thanksgiving Day. I remember it clearly. It was Thanksgiving Day. I was inserting myself in somebody else's fucking business as a cash grab, and you know.
This channel is harsh reality.
Karen Yak se jodió la sucia vida. Amen.
This is Jonathan Lee Riches. I have cheeseburgers. I'm gonna put cheese on them. I'm gonna make sure that I have my hamburgers because I'm a big boy now and I can make the hamburgers. My mom lets me use the stove now.
And I'm just like, wow, I like receipts, and they brought receipts. Like they had evidence to back up everything they said. And I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be another side to this, right? Like this can't. No, this is too fantastic.
Yeah, because you're not going to just jump to the conclusion that there's a conspiracy amongst cops to cover up a murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean cops and just like soccer moms and shit. Like that's what made it even crazier. Like,
yeah, get it, Betty. Yeah,
did you have a close relationship with your mom?
Get it, Betty.
Oh, of course, I still do.
Yeah.
My older sister was kind of sad. She was more of the prissy girl, like
that is the best shit fucking
shopping for dresses with mommy. I was the tomboy that liked playing with the people.
Shout out to Cherry for just being easily the most faithful and loyal supporter that I've ever had, man. That someone could have that tenacity with loyalty. And I'm really blessed to have someone like Cherry be part of this channel and in my life. So it means a lot. And yes, I named him after Mr. T and Rocky. Say woman. Say woman. Say woman. Since your old man ain't got no heart, why don't you come down to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man. Oh my God, I'm so in love with this little dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Oh, say bye. Say bye. Oh, I love you too. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you. Bye, guys.
Karen left the waterfall about for February.
Good evening, people. Oh my goodness. It's great to see you guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for hanging out with me today on a Wednesday late afternoon. Man, I gotta tell you. Oh, I see Scott, my man. It's good to see you, buddy. And good evening to all of you guys out there too, man. All of you guys who are here all the time. It's fantastic. So when the other night I went over Microdots' latest video, and a big shout out to Microdots, of course. I went over Microdots' video, and it was mostly the footage from the Waterfall Bar and Grill on the late hours of January 28th, 2022, which is just hours before Boston police officer John O'Keefe met his demise. Now, the circumstances in which that has taken place remains a mystery. The only thing that we know for sure at this point is that Karen Reed did not hit John O'Keefe with her SUV, which is what the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is claiming. And she is currently on trial she was on trial for this. There is a retrial that is scheduled, but there's some complications because the prosecution galactically failed. I mean, spectacularly failed in proving their case against Karen Reed. And the jury ends up telling Judge Bev that they are at an impasse. Okay, well, they're at an impasse, but she's charged. She's got 3 different charges, and Judge Beverly Cannoni never bothered to specify or ask the jurors to specify which charges they were at an impasse on, if all of them. If not all of them, then which ones? So and it slipped by everybody. It slipped by me. It slipped by everybody watching. It slipped by the defense. It slipped by everybody. We were all just kind of like, wait, what? Okay. Because, I mean, the thing is I think we all were expecting her to call a mistrial. I mean, we were expecting it. But the problem is that she's calling a mistrial, and there's 2 of those charges where jurors have come forward after the fact. Nobody sought them out. The jury came forward both to Alan Jackson's office, David Yanetti's office, the prosecution, the Michael Morrissey's district attorney's office, meaning Adam Lally's office, and they're saying that on counts 1 and 3, Karen Reed was acquitted, that they were all unanimous on her being not guilty. So, of course, we're going to be like, well, what's the problem here? Because then this thing called double jeopardy applies if you retry her for something that she's already been acquitted on. But unfortunately, since, according to Adam Lally, since they didn't put a check mark on a piece of paper, that Karen Reed has to go through all of this all over again. And for what purpose? I'm shocked, because I want to know what purpose is this going to serve, considering the fact that they even have less of a case now. Because when Karen Reed was on trial the first time, when she was acquitted of 2 out of 3 counts the first time, the entire team of lead investigators who were in charge of her case were not under investigation. They were not under internal affairs investigation. And I can only imagine for misconduct. And we also know exactly what Trooper Proctor did And you know, we know what Trooper Proctor did when it came to his text messaging. And let's just face it, those of us who have believed Karen Reed to be innocent for quite a while now also believe Trooper Proctor to have planted pieces of taillight. I believe Chief Berkowitz probably planted pieces of taillight as well. Because how else did the taillight get there? If Karen Reed didn't hit John O'Keefe with her SUV, which we know she didn't, then how else could the pieces of taillight have gotten there at the crime scene? So what I'm going to do now, that brings me over to the idea of, well, if Karen didn't do it, who did? I am completely at a loss on that. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have no idea. All I know is that if Karen Reed did not strike Boston police officer John O'Keefe with her SUV, then that means that John O'Keefe went inside the house 34 Fairview, where everyone who was inside that house says he did not. But so much data tells us that he did go inside that house. So much data dictates this. And so, not to mention the fact that everyone who was inside that house that night, when they testified, they were caught lying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going over a lot of the testimony. It had occurred to me that I had never done that I have only gone over testimony live as it was happening during the trial. But there are things that I just can't fucking believe. So I'm going to go over some of this stuff. Many of these witnesses testimonies. I'm going to start with Higgins tonight in lieu of the video that Microdots made and the footage that we're privy to now inside the waterfall, which I don't think was brought up during his cross-examination, but we're going to watch it and discuss it. Now, this is going to be a long stream, guys, so I hope you guys got plenty of coffee or whatever it is that makes you comfortable. Because there's going to be pausing and there's going to be commentary. And remember, the pausing commentary, when it happens and you want to complain, remember, just make it in your mind an automatic response, my voice going, fuck off. Okay? Remember, when you're about to complain about me pausing or talking over, remember, just listen to just hear my voice now. Record it. Here, I'm going to say it one more time so you can record it, store it. Fuck off. Okay? There you go. All right. So I'm going to start doing this with a lot of these videos, with a lot of these testimonies. And so, what's up, Microdots? Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, we're gonna start with Brian Higgins because Jesus. Oh man, hold on a second here. Hold on. Something's seriously.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
Let me read. I got a few of these. I missed this one because I was in the middle of my not long enough intro. Sharon Corner, thank you so much. Will, I wish you would quit smoking. My mother, grandmother, and cousin died from lung cancer. I'm really sorry to hear that. I wish I could quit smoking too, but sending me money's not going to help. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Little Irish girl, thank you so much. Auntie Bev hopes we'll forget, like Katie McLaughlin. Right. Yeah. Like it's so bizarre. It's so bizarre, little Irish girl. I'm just a girl in the world. I've been rewatching Testimony and it's worse the second time around. Okay, yeah. See, that's what that's where I'm at, is I basically just want to go over the Testimony again because I realized that I haven't a second time around. So I might as well do that with you guys. Because there's just I mean, I feel like, did I miss something here? So this is the constant thought that takes place every time there's some new development in this case. So yeah. But yeah, we're gonna go over, like I said, we're gonna start going over a lot of the testimony in this trial. And just to prepare for the next trial. And we're gonna go over a lot more Sandra Birchmore stuff too. And before I get into that, let me do this real quick. Just get into a couple of updates here. Now, I don't think I'll get through Higgins' entire testimony today, but there's a couple of things I want to talk about. All right, so a couple of updates from Aiden Turtle Boy. Couple of updates from him. First off,
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Thank you, Sharon Corner. I send money because I like your channel. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I was just joking, just because, I mean, you know, you get it because cigarettes cost money, and yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I meant. It was just a joke. But I really appreciate the support. I do. Thank you so much. Clubber appreciates it too. See, he's drinking his water with so much enthusiasm. There we go. All right. You good, buddy? You good? All right. Good. Okay. So what I have here, some updates. Yeah, the letter is from Josh Levy 2023. This is one of the updates I'm going to get at. So Turtle Boy tweeted and posted several places that hold on a second. All right, Dave's channel. Let me clear this up right now. This, I wish it was die. This is not die. I am old. Okay. I've been turning gray since my late 20s. So yeah, I'm just old. And you know, it's holding up pretty good as far as like considering baldness or whatever. I mean, there's a little bit thinning in the back a little bit, you know, but you know, as long as it's all there, I don't give a shit what color it is. So but yeah, I'm just old. I don't dye my hair. So Aiden Turtle Boy Carney, Aiden, he posted a couple of things. One of the things being the latest thing being that he has permission now to report that he is in talks with a juror in the Karen Reed murder trial. I will be publishing my interview with them in the not so distant future. Now, this is a big deal. And I really want to see. I really want to see what this juror has to say. I'm really, really, really psyched for this. And I really hope that Turtle Boy gets the kind of credit that he deserves for something like that. Unfortunately, it probably won't happen until the the order to suppress the jury's identities is lifted, and I'm glad that it's in place. Don't get me wrong, considering how some of the people have been acting who follow this case. But I'm really I'm really looking forward to reading this interview or hearing it or whichever form he ends up doing this. I'm excited about it. But I really hope that he gets the credit for that, because the work that he's put into this case, like, it's a fucking crime that he's being not only not getting the credit for uncovering as much as he has, but he's also gone to jail over it. It's fucking insane, dude.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
Bukaki's missing dentures. Thank you so much. Let's see here. You and Aiden have desensitized me to the word cunt. I'd like to say thank you. It's been very cathartic in traffic. My 22-year-old clutched her pearls during rush hour, and it made it even funnier. I enjoy your channel and chat. Oh man, that's sweet. Does your 22-year-old have like the Benjamin Button thing? Benjamin Buttonitis? Like where they're old, like, but 22 and they're wearing pearls. You got your 22-year-old wearing pearls? I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm in a silly mood. So yeah, I'm glad that we could do that for you. I'm really glad that we can do that for you. Here, we'll do a little celebration here, okay?
You're a little cunt.
Oi, cunt.
You're a magnificent cunt.
I think that's all the cunts I have. Yeah, I think that's all the cunts I have. I don't have any more cunts. They're all gone. Oh, wait.
Twat.
Okay. There we go. Thank you, Bukaki. Let's see. Tom Gillis, thank you so much. Another great show. On the way to 10,000 subs. Right on, Tom Gillis. Good for you, buddy. Do you have a channel? Let me see here. Let me see if Tom Gillis has a channel, bro. Can see that. Yeah, man. Tom Gillis golf instructions. Any golfers out there? Any golfers? You guys make sure to subscribe to Tom Gillis. Okay, golf instructions. Get him to 10,000 subs, people. Here we go. I'm going to put there's the link to his channel right there. Make sure to click on that and subscribe. Let's get Tom Gillis golf instruction to 10,000 subs. I love it. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see if there's an interview that's going to take place with a juror, and I'm glad that it's with Aiden of all people. Like, it shouldn't be with anybody else. Like, Aiden deserves that exclusive interview with that juror, absolutely 100%. Because everybody else, all of you in mainstream media, maybe you're just doing your jobs and doing what your producers are telling you to do. That's fine. But the bottom line is you're reporting for shit when it comes to this case. Every single fucking one of you are reporting for shit. If I already know more than you're reporting, then you're reporting for shit. So I'm glad that it's Aiden getting that interview and none of you fucking fucks. So now, earlier today, he posted that Karen Reed has changed her profile pic to a copy of a letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office to the Norfolk County DA's office, in which they state that the federal investigation will continue, and that's and that the United States Attorney's Office has a very different opinion about the Reed case than Michael Morrissey does. Wonder if Karen knows something we don't. I certainly wouldn't know anything about that. Very ominous. Right. So here's that real quick. Let's show that. Let's show that. Let's read that one more time, because again, this is from August 3rd, 2023. Lind Belland. Oh, you always find it so funny. That's her name. Let my limey friends know what I'm talking about. Dear Miss Belland, this responds to your June 21st, 2023 letter concerning your putative request for a recusal of the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts from the pending state criminal matter Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Clever, are you good, bro? I mean, go ahead, dude. Clever's just rolling around on the floor like a crazy dog. I know. I love you too, buddy. I ain't mad at you. I'm just like, what is going on over there? Okay. As you indicate, the Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility informed you that they had referred your May 18th, 2023 letter to my office for whatever action I deem appropriate. Consistent with the terms of the referral from OPR, I contacted Acting United States Attorney Joshua Levy. Based on my understanding from the discussion with U.S. Attorney Levy, his office has a very different opinion of the circumstances in this case than is presented in Mr. Morrissey's letter. His office has not reached any official determination whether prosecution is warranted, but they believe it is essential to continue their investigation, given the information of which they are aware. At this time, we see no basis for a recusal in this investigation. Thank you for your contact information and willingness to provide additional information as needed. Okay, so, and this is Karen Reed's profile picture now, right? And that is about as bold a move that I've seen Karen Reed do as far as being public. That's I haven't really seen her do much. She's very kind in speaking with her supporters. She's very kind in interacting with her supporters. She's very kind in talking to the press. But you know, she keeps things very limited. She doesn't give these long exclusive interviews since Dateline. I think it was Dateline, wasn't it? So, well, and that's the thing is, you know, Turtle Boy wrote it in the form of a question, like, does she know something we don't? Well, first of all, here's my take on that. Does Karen Reed know something that we don't? Chances are she does. That's why she has the lawyers that she has. Chances are these people are going to be the first to get something, and that means that she's going to be the first to get something. So, if the question is generally, does she know something that we don't? If she knows more about, if there's something about this investigation that there is to know, that they can know, they know it. If there's something about this investigation, I'll repeat that. If there's something about this investigation that they need to know and that they can know, Karen Reed's defense team is going to know it, which means Karen Reed is going to know it. Guaranteed. So whatever's going on, you know, I mean, and maybe she's just doing that to be bold. Maybe she's just changing that as her profile picture just to make it known. Hey, I'm not done fighting. I'm just getting started. I still believe that the U.S. Attorney's Office is going after Michael Morrissey and anybody who worked under him. I mean, the signs are there, folks. You know what I mean? The signs are there. It's not that the dominoes are falling just yet. Okay? It's not that the dominoes are falling just yet. But the table's shaking a little. You know, the dominoes are up, but the table's shaking a little. You know? That's what's happening. And those dominoes are, whoa. You know what I mean? And I'll explain what I mean by that. What I mean by that is, oh, Susie, thank you so much. I made it on time. I'm usually a part of the replay crew. I'm happy to have made it today. Love your style. You remind me of family, rough around the edges, but kind of caring on the inside. Much love. That is me in a absolute nutshell. Thank you so much, Susie CJ. She's got me totally snowed, bro. So I'm definitely of the opinion that see, and I lost my train of thought because this is I get abused. This is like her, you know, in writing smacking me across the face just for no reason, just to be mean. That's what I deal with. That's what I deal with, folks. Okay? Just so you know. That's what I deal with. I told myself I wasn't going to cry, so I'm not going to. Okay? Just so you know. Anyway. So, as far as Josh Levy's office is concerned, I do believe that I know that this serves the purpose. At the very least, I know that her posting this serves the purpose that, hey, I'm not giving up, and I still believe that there's something happening. Whether she knows something or whether she just believes it, she at least believes it herself. She at least believes herself that Josh Levy's office is going to take action against Michael Morrissey and his district attorney's, Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. So, wow, no love. Look at that. No love. Y'all are hurtful, man. No love. Wow. Wow. I swear to God, dude. Like, I'm convinced now that if me and Cherry were in public standing around you people, she just fucking lit me on fire and started laughing, you guys would laugh along with her. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You bunch of twisted fucks. You sociopathic fucking animals, you. Yeah, so this is definitely a reminder that she is not done fighting. This is definitely a reminder that Kara Reed is not done fighting. And I mean, I love that. What's up, top CPU? All right, so let me get in here real quick. All right. Let's get into this fucking idiot. I'm only going to play the cross-examination because, and I'm going to speed it up too.
Thank you. That's easy to find. It's literally the last page. Report commission may I publish? Yes. Does that look like a fair representation of what you're looking at in the last page of that series of texts?
Yes.
At the very top, could you read what you write in the blue bubbles starting at the top?
Haha, stranger, stranger.
And then what was the response from Ms. Reed?
Hey, I was at the Hilly all weekend.
And what did you respond back?
I have not heard from you.
And by the way, if you look at the next date down, what's the date underneath I have not heard from you?
The 23rd.
So this would have preceded the 23rd, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then on the 23rd, and by the way, after you texted, I have not heard from you, she did not respond, correct?
She did not respond.
Then on the 23rd, she did respond with phone works, correct?
In the arrows, like both ways.
Right.
Yep.
And then what did you text after that?
I just said, thought you were all set.
And how did she respond?
She said, we're talking? No.
That's all I have for that.
I love
Bring the lights back up.
I love how he tries to play it cool, you know. Oh no, that was it, you know. Hey, whatever, you know, whatever. I just try to, you know. I left it at that, you know, just playing it cool, you know, whatever. And then it's like we can't see the fucking texts of this dude, just like he just can't fucking calibrate his brain and dick. Like it's you just got to calibrate the two of them, bro. You know what I mean? Like your dick, it has needs, you know, but you've got to listen to your brain, you know, and let it do what it's going to do. You know, apply that college education that got you through Fed school and, you know, use it to try to even begin to understand a woman's needs. Like just something, some sort of fucking effort to understand a woman's needs, bro. Jesus Christ. This shit is painful to watch.
So clearly with that last text, her response was, in response to you saying, thought we were all set, she said, with talking, no. Correct?
Yep, yes.
Did that indicate to you that with flirting, yes, we're all done?
No, I didn't read anything into it.
Okay. But you did read where she said, with talking, no, correct?
Yes.
And then you responded, how?
I said, are you sure?
Did she respond?
No.
Matter of fact, the next time you saw or communicated with her, she was walking into the Waterfall Bar on the 29th, late night hours of the 28th.
Okay, Scott, stop it, because everybody here knows, like Scott back in the 80s dated Brigitte Nielsen's stunt double, not in real life, just kidding. But a tall woman, tall drink of water. And if you're gonna hold something like that down, it's because you're packing some heat. Scott's got the bomby knocker. Okay. The bomby knocker. Scott and the bomby knocker.
With her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, correct?
Yes.
Now, you had discussed your flirtations, if I can use that word, that you had with Miss Reed with your friends, at least some of them, correct?
I don't recall that, no.
Do you recall that you openly shared the details of your interest in Miss Reed with your work supervisor at the DOJ?
Well, that was after I shared what happened, that she kissed me. Yes, I did share that with her.
And that was with...
that was the first time.
That was with a person by the name of Kate Dowd, is that right?
That's correct.
And that was before January 29th?
Yes.
And that's because your interest in Karen Reed, whether you call it romantic or sexual or whatever, your interest was something that was at least occupying your mind at that point, correct?
No.
It was occupying your mind enough to share it with your boss.
No, what I shared with my boss was the fact that she kissed me. That was it.
Did you discuss your flirtatious relationship with Karen Reed with Brian Albert at any point?
No.
Never?
No.
So it's not on your mind, but you mention it to your boss. You go to your boss, your female boss, and you mention it, right? Oh, you know, I'm not exactly the hermit that you're making me out to be. I got kissed by a woman, Karen Reed. I got kissed by a woman. Just so you know, I'm out there, honey. I'm out there. This poor bastard.
No.
So you were on a 4-hour drive in a snowstorm back from New York with Mr. Reed. I'm sorry, with Mr. Albert. And your interest in Karen Reed never came up.
No.
Even though he's a good friend.
Yes, just something I wouldn't talk about.
You've been drinking since about what time? What time? That's a bad way to ask it. What time did you start drinking?
When are we at, Mr.
I'm sorry, on the 28th, when you got back from New York. When did you start drinking?
Well, it wasn't until I swapped out vehicles and I went up to the hillside.
Okay. That would have been, give me a time frame. 9-ish, 8-ish?
It was dark. It was maybe in the area of 8 o'clock.
And what time do you think you got to Waterfall?
I couldn't say. I don't. It was after the hillside.
Before Brian Albert left Hillside, did he tell you that John O'Keefe had been invited over to meet them at the Waterfall?
No.
Was there any particular reason why you changed your mind and left the Hillside to go to the Waterfall?
Well, I think, as I previously testified, that it was because I didn't always take them up on their offer, and I usually did the Irish exit, and I decided because of the weather and everything else, and it had been a long day, that I would go down there and join them.
Didn't have anything to do with you knowing that Karen Reed might be at the Waterfall?
It couldn't have, because I didn't know she or John O'Keefe would even be there. I didn't know who was going to be there other than Brian's wife.
Do you have any text messages with Brian about going to the Waterfall?
I don't recall. He told me about it at the hillside.
And once he got to the waterfall obviously before you did.
He did, I think shortly before, yes.
Any text communications between you and Brian Albert about who was at the waterfall or who was expected to come to the waterfall?
No, not that I recall.
Now, you've already indicated, and I don't think...
So wait a second. So nobody, I mean, you didn't ever text like, hey, I'm 5 minutes away, or I'm on my way, or I'm here, or nothing, no text messaging in regards to the waterfall took place between you and Brian Albert, but you both spent the day together and you both end up in the same spot in Canton, right?
I don't think we need to go into a lot of detail about this, but I want to ask you just in general, the mood at the waterfall was good spirits, correct?
It was great. Band was playing.
You did not see any sort of tension between John and Karen?
I did not.
Nobody seemed overly intoxicated?
No.
You had several drinks before you even got to the waterfall, right?
I think it was 3 to 4.
Did you drink additionally at the waterfall?
I did, yes.
Did you drink whiskey or beer or what?
Whiskey.
Okay. How many do you think you had?
I couldn't put a number on it. At least a couple.
And ultimately you left from there in your personal vehicle and drove over to, that's the Jeep, drove over to the waterfall, correct?
I drove over to the waterfall?
I'm sorry,
I was at the waterfall.
left the waterfall, drove over to 34 Fairview.
I did, yes.
When John walked in to the waterfall, were you already there?
Yes.
He greeted you, you indicated, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Karen walked in with him.
Yes.
But she did not greet you, did she?
I think they kind of went like that in different directions.
Right.
Thank you, Mandolin Wind. Gifted 1 membership. Appreciate it. Congrats to Susie CJ. Right on.
Did she greet you?
No.
Right. So she walked over toward the corner of the bar, and John came over and greeted you, and then walked over and joined her, correct?
Yes.
Karen didn't stop what she was doing when she was over in the corner of the bar and come over and say hi to you?
I didn't have any interaction with her that night, no.
So safe to say that throughout that evening, once she was sidled up next to John O'Keefe or the friends that she was with, she never turned back around and came over and even acknowledged you, correct?
That's correct.
So she basically ignored you the entire evening.
That's not how I interpret it, no.
I didn't ask you how you interpreted it. I asked you what she did. Did she ignore you or did she pay attention to you?
Objection.
You can go ahead and answer that. Did she ignore you?
No.
So she paid attention to you. Came over and said hello, shook your hand, gave you a hug.
Well, just because somebody didn't come over doesn't mean they ignored you.
Did she do those 3 things?
Hug? What was the other thing?
Did she acknowledge
No, she
your
did not.
existence?
No.
It's like you didn't even exist.
I think that's dramatic. No, I don't look at it that way.
Did she ignore you or not?
No, she did not ignore me.
So what did she do to not ignore you?
See, like, I love what Jackson's doing here. Jackson knows this. He's got this dude snowed. Okay, Jackson is. If I had to guess, I'd say Jackson is capable of being something of a ladies' man. If I had to guess, I know that he's happily married and whatnot. I'm not saying that that's the case nowadays. What I'm saying is he's very capable. The dude strikes me as in his prime had some game, you know? So he knows, what I'm saying? Like, people know how to, they could sense those in certain packs, and it's Jackson's job to know people, to understand people, to get a feel for them. It's also his job to elicit an emotional response from the person on the stand, to use this information and these assessments, these personal assessments that he's making, to elicit an emotional response from the person who's sitting on the stand. And this is exactly what he's doing here. He can sense that this dude is the epitome of no game at all. Like, any man with any game at all whatsoever who read those text messages is going, Jesus Christ, man. Nobody is looking at those text messages who's ever been with more women than they can count on one hand, can look at those text messages and go, dude, they can't like resist, but go, dude, like, what the fuck? I mean, this is the saddest shit I've ever seen. Alan Jackson, guaranteed, looked at that shit and was like, Jesus Christ, man. Did he really fucking say this shit? Probably sitting there with Karen, like, did he really fucking say this shit? Is this really happening right now? What the fuck is going on here? How does this guy think that this is going to get him laid? Right. AJ is a word magician. Thank you so much. I'm just a girl in the world. He absolutely is a word magician. But he's also getting into his head. This is what he's doing. He knows this guy's got no game. He knows that he's insecure about not having any game. And he's trying to piss him off. That's why he's going, well, she ignored you. And he's trying to get him pissed off at the fact that he keeps pressing that Karen ignored him. And if that ends up eliciting an emotional response and the jury sees that, that's a thing of beauty. It's just a thing of beauty. Just him drawing that out, using that basis, using that this dude got ignored by her and seeing him get angry, that's going to help the third-party culprit defense. On top of everything else, it's also going to let the jury know that this dude is full of shit and he's been downplaying his interaction with this woman and downplaying his role in it and trying to come off like he's Mr. Innocent. So Jackson knows exactly what he's doing here.
She was working. Can I answer now?
Sure.
In my opinion, she was working the room, talking to people, saying hello, catching up.
Right. The one person she didn't come over to talk to and say hello to and catch up with is you.
Well, I don't know that I was the only person, but I was one of the people that she didn't say hello to, yes.
She did sort of like a stranger.
I don't feel that way, no.
She actually positioned herself away from you at the other end of the table on the opposite side in the corner. Isn't that right?
I don't know where she was all night, no.
Did
I don't
that
know.
upset you that she ignored you or didn't pay attention to you?
I did not feel ignored and didn't upset me at all.
It bothered you enough to send her a text, didn't it?
No, it was a flirtatious text. It was just, that was it.
It bothered you enough to send her a text that said, with 6 M's behind it.
Okay.
And, well,
right.
Correct?
Well, it wasn't like that. It was, well, that's it.
Just, well, like a well in the ground.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you do too, sir. You meant, well, we need to pay attention.
See, so like he patronized him knowing that would piss him off. I think you know what I mean. It's very slick right here. I love this.
Correct?
Well, it wasn't like that. It was, well, that's it.
Just, well, like a well in the ground.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you do too, sir. You meant, well, we need to pay attention to me.
No, that's not correct.
Like a well in the ground.
It's not correct.
Well, am I chopped liver?
Objection.
All right, that's sustained. Mr. Jackson, let's move on.
Like he did like Jack Black did in that movie High Fidelity. Anybody ever see that? Like a well in the ground? Like Jack Black, remember he goes, Anna Moss? Is she all green and fuzzy and mossy? That's totally what he's doing just to piss this guy off. Like a well in the ground. I think you know what I mean, sir.
At the end of the night, the group basically discussed going back to Brian Albert's house. Is that right?
There was discussion at the table of like, were we going to go to the pizza shop or were we going to go somewhere else? And ultimately it was 34 Fairview.
Before you left, just so we're clear, when you texted, well, she ignored that text too, didn't she?
Can you say that again?
When you texted her, well, at Waterfall, she ignored that text too, correct?
Well, that was the only text I sent that night to her, yes.
Okay.
She didn't respond.
That wasn't my question.
What
My question is she ignored the text, right?
Well, I don't know if I don't know what her mindset was. If she purposely ignored the text or she didn't see it, I don't
look
know.
Look at Karen reacting.
Did she ignore the text, Mr. Higgins?
Look at Karen reacting. Look at.
Right.
Well, I don't know if I don't know what her mindset was. If she purposely ignored the text or she didn't see it, I don't know. I didn't read into it.
Did she ignore the text, Mr. Higgins?
I don't know.
Did she respond to the text?
She did not respond.
Dude, what's so funny, dude, is like I just don't believe that she was ever attracted to this guy. Like, dude, Karen Reed, you can tell that Karen Reed eats fucking dudes like that for breakfast, bro. Or could. You know what I mean? Like, she just chooses not to. We know that that's what happened when they were at the point, bro. They were at the point where they were going to do something. And then it was just like, all right, man, you know what? This is just, you know, it's just very funny to me. Like it's like, have you ever been like, so like in comparison, so much more experienced than someone else, even though that person is, even at times they may be older than you are. You're like, you almost, now, you know what? I mean, I would fucking give you nightmares. You were not ready. You know what I mean? Like, this is, yeah, there's, you could just tell that Karen Reed is, and Higgins is just, you know, he's not ready for, he's not ready for that. Someone who's that direct. Tim Blanche, thank you so much. Hey, Will, Cherry, hey, Clever, could we maybe get a super chat dancer? Oh my God.
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
There you go, Tim Blanche. Thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, I mean, right. Yeah, it was just a peck. That's not, yeah. The thing is, man, when there's a kiss, like a real kiss, there's what makes them so fucking cool, man, is that they're like mutual. You know what I mean? There's like this equal energy being exchanged between two people. You know what I'm saying? Like when that shit is not there, you're not going to do that. You know, you're just not going to fucking do that. When that shit is just not there between the two of you, that chemistry, that electricity, that vibe, that shit is you're not, I mean, somebody's tongue is going to taste gross. You know what I mean? It's going to feel gross. It's going to taste gross. You're not going to want that shit in your fucking mouth. You know? I mean, so I have absolutely no reason to believe, despite the text, I have no reason to believe that Karen Reed was genuinely attracted to this man. I stand by my original theory that she was merely using Higgins to elicit a response from John because her and John were having issues. There were time and attention issues between the two of them, considering all of the responsibilities and considering the health issues that Karen was dealing with. So, and these things happen. There is not even the slightest amount of judgment coming from me on either John or Karen when it comes to this. I'm just stating what I absolutely believe to be fact, and I believe that this is very normal. I don't think that there's a person in this chat right now who hasn't had similar problems to some degree with a significant other who you care for and will do just about anything to work towards making that relationship work. But these problems do happen and they exist. And sometimes people make bad decisions. But it doesn't mean that they don't love their significant other. Sometimes they do it in a desperate way. It's a desperate, irrational act of love towards that person, which is going and trying to manipulate a situation to elicit a response from your partner because you feel that desperate to get his attention, to make him feel like he's this close to losing you. That happens. People do that. People have different ways of doing that. Do I agree with Karen Reed's method of doing so? Of course not. But I don't think that Karen Reed agrees with it either. I think that if I had to guess, that would be something that Karen Reed would be like, yeah, that wasn't the best decision in the world. You know, I would assume so. I mean, so Risa, you're not wrong, man. It's wild, but like she's basically spelling it out for him, and he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe well we have to. I want to make sure that you're not playing games with me. Bro, like she's throwing herself at you, like it's this is the weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen.
So when everybody was leaving, did you leave before they did, John and Karen, or did they leave before you did?
I don't know.
You said you were the first one back to Brian Albert's house, correct?
Yes.
Safe to say you were one of the first ones to leave.
I was the first one to leave the waterfall. Probably.
I mean, if you're the, if everybody's hurting out and you're the first one to get there, you're probably among the first to leave, correct?
Most likely.
Okay. You never personally discussed going to 34 Fairview with, certainly not with Karen Reed, did you?
No.
And you never discussed it with John O'Keefe either, did you?
No.
You didn't say goodbye or walk over and give John a big hug or anything like that? An acknowledgement, did you?
No.
You just left.
Well, that's what everybody was doing, just leaving.
Okay. You too, correct?
I did leave, yes.
And all you knew that at that
See, this is fascinating to me. Did Jackson just not know about the footage when they left? I mean, he used the footage as evidence. I don't understand what his strategy would be here by leaving that out. Because right here, he's lying. We already saw the footage.
or anything like that. You didn't say goodbye or walk over and give John a big hug or anything like that? An acknowledgement, did you?
No.
You just left.
Well, that's what everybody was doing, just leaving.
Okay. You too, correct?
I did leave, yes.
Okay, so maybe he's getting to it, and I just didn't give him a chance. It's possible.
And all you knew that at that point, all you knew was that you were going over to 34 Fairview. You did not know who else was invited over to 34 Fairview.
My impression was that it was an open invitation, and I planned on heading over there.
But you did not know who else was coming.
I had no idea who was coming.
And you didn't say goodbye to John, correct?
I don't think I said goodbye to anybody.
And you didn't talk to him about coming over to 34 Fairview.
No.
Yet at 2:20 in the morning, you texted John O'Keefe, you coming here, correct?
At 2:20?
Sorry, 12:20.
I did.
And that had 3 question marks behind it, correct?
Yes.
Did you text Karen about coming over to 34 Fairview?
No.
So at 12:20 a.m., after you left the waterfall and made your way over to 34 Fairview.
Okay. See, there's a big chunk of this timeline missing here. There's a massive chunk of this timeline missing right now. Okay. Because all right. Now, big shout out to Microdots. Because I'm going to go over something real quick. True Crime with Eve, thank you so much. I think Karen was engaging with Higgins to see what he saw in her that John O'Keefe wasn't seeing in her. Maybe, yeah, that's possible too. I mean, I'm sure that was kind of part of it, maybe. I mean, I don't know those kind of details, but I mean, something to that effect, I believe, yeah. Chloe Albert's Revenge, thank you so much. I don't even think she intended to get a response from John. I think he was a fact to keep in her back pocket, like the crappy piece of the box of chocolates that you keep around for a rainy day. I mean, I don't even know if he was that much to her. That's, you know what I mean? It's kind of bizarre. But here, and big shout out to Microdots. Make sure to subscribe to Microdots if you're not already. But take a look at this. This is a big chunk of that timeline that's missing here in this cross-examination. Let's take a look. So you see Higgins being held back right here. And the person over here is John O'Keefe. You've got Chris Albert and Brian Albert who are holding Higgins back. This guy's like, all right, well, I'm done. I'm out of here. So he's talking shit and motioning to John over here to come outside. That's clearly John O'Keefe. This is clearly John O'Keefe right here. Okay, so all of that was left out, where we see Brian Higgins, thank you, Microdots, by the way. And you're working on part 2. That's awesome. I can't wait. You see Brian Higgins motioning to John O'Keefe, like, yo, and pointing outside. Like, you don't have to know sign language to see that Brian Higgins is telling John O'Keefe, yo, come over here and let's go outside. Let's go outside. And it's not a coincidence that to me that this takes place. And then after this takes place, he texts John O'Keefe, are you coming? With 3 question marks behind it. And here he's acting completely innocent, as if this didn't happen. We're looking at video footage. This is solid evidence, folks, that Brian Higgins absolutely had a motive, and he was ready to fight John O'Keefe just moments before his alleged death his alleged murder takes place. Just moments. Brian Higgins is on video camera trying to pick a fight with Boston police officer John O'Keefe. And moments later, John O'Keefe is dead. I mean, I don't know if Bev didn't let that part in. I don't know. That's what I'm, Jen Lee. I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that because I don't fucking know, and it's driving me crazy. So we're seeing him absolutely motioning. This is not coincidence, people. I'm sorry. This is True Crime 101, folks. This is video footage, security footage of Brian Higgins motioning to John O'Keefe in an aggressive fashion because he's being held back by 2 other witnesses in this trial. And he's being held back, physically restrained, as he motions to John O'Keefe to come over to him and meet him outside. It's clear as day that that's what he's doing. And then he text messages John O'Keefe, are you coming over? Yet Higgins is the first to leave. He's the first to leave 34 Fairview out of everybody. First to get there, first to leave. All right, let's do that one more time. Why not? You guys want to see that again? Let's see that again. All right. Here's Higgins. Here's Higgins right here. Center of the shot. Touching Brian Albert's ass right there. Okay? Clearly, if you had to like determine which person is out to get the other person's approval more, it's clearly Higgins. Clearly, Brian Albert is the alpha in that scenario. Higgins is not the alpha. Not even close. He's like a little baby cub that keeps trying to play with the papa cub or with the papa wolf. And the papa wolf is just like, yeah, whatever, you know? So clearly Brian Higgins he looks up to Brian Albert. He wants his approval. People are saying goodbye. So Brian Higgins feels brave right here. Right here. He's being held back. You got Chris Albert over here, Brian Albert over here. They're trying to talk him down. He's pointing at him. There's something happening here. He's motioning to him, and he says, come outside. John O'Keefe is the only one over here. Karen Reed is talking to Jen McCabe. She's not aware of what's going on, or she's just simply not paying attention. But you can see Karen Reed is not looking at Brian Higgins. Okay? Jen McCabe is standing in front of her. Brian Albert is clearly talking to John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe is acknowledging him, wondering what the fuck is going on. So this is not something to be taken lightly. The most evidence is against Brian Higgins. And the timeline fits. And let's get into this. Hold on. Let's hear what he has to say a little bit.
Not how I would describe that.
But you didn't text Karen, correct?
No, I didn't.
But you did text John.
Yes.
You've indicated that you took your Jeep, your personal vehicle with the plow on it, over to 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
And you were among the first to arrive because you were doing that thing with the sort of playing around by plowing his driveway.
It was a sweep of the driveway, yes.
And then you indicated that you parked in front of the house, correct?
I did.
I know you've been over this before, but I'm going to ask you one final time so it's completely clear. Exactly where was your Jeep in front of that house?
By the mailbox.
Okay. Can we have, with the court's permission, exhibit 66?
Okay.
This is a graphic representation of 34 Fairview, not a photograph. Just to orient you, do you see what's depicted in exhibit 66?
Yes.
Do you recognize it?
I do.
You see the mailbox, which is out right there.
Yes.
Okay. Where was your Jeep in relation to that mailbox?
So the back end of the Jeep, the rear, would have been about around equal with the mailbox, and I was not blocking the driveway.
Okay, so you would have been about there, correct? If the right edge of that highlight is the mailbox being right there. You would have been about right there on the street, correct?
Well, that would have been the front of the Jeep. We a laser pointer is it would be the front.
Okay, so the front of the Jeep was facing the flagpole.
Towards Chapman Street, correct.
And the rear of the Jeep was basically even with the mailbox strut or stanchion.
It was definitely past the driveway, yes.
Okay.
So as I remember it, this is the
You
first
indicated the
we're
plow
hearing.
was a 6 foot what inch plow?
This is the first we're hearing about Higgins. When this happened, it was the first we were hearing about Higgins' Jeep being parked right by the mailbox, which in my opinion makes it even less possible for Karen Reed to pick up that sort of speed the way that she did and hit John and not hit, or John not hit Higgins' plow or Higgins' Jeep with the plow on it. I mean, I just don't see it. How she could pick up, 63 feet, 24 miles per hour in the snow and not hit Higgins' Jeep. It doesn't make sense to me. So as this trial continued, I was just like, okay, this is less and less possible that Karen Reed could have done this.
I think it was a 6'8", 6 foot.
Meaning the width.
Meaning the width, yes.
How deep is that plow?
How deep? Like
2 feet, 3 feet, 6 inches?
I mean, it's probably a few inches.
Okay.
It's light duty. It's on a Jeep.
Okay. And it's obviously curved and canted to the right?
No, it wasn't canted at all. It was straight down.
Okay, so it's not like, I guess I'm picturing in my mind, I don't know that I've ever seen one, that the front of the Jeep is not parallel to the plow. In other words, it would plow stuff off to the right. Is that all right?
I'm not understanding what you're trying to communicate to me.
How is the plow positioned as it relates to the front end of the Jeep? Is it perfectly parallel to the front end, or is it canted one way or another?
So when you're driving, You're driving straight locally, where you're not going to have to worry about overheating the Jeep. I would just have the Jeep plow straight. If I was on the highway for a long distance, I'd be worried about overheating, so I would canter the plow, tilt it up so that air could get through the front grill.
So in other words, you can control it.
I can, yes.
How was it that night?
So
How was it canted that night? Was it straight or canted?
it was straight and straight on.
All right. When you walked into 34 Fairview, you indicated that there were people congregated basically in the kitchen area, correct?
There were some people in the kitchen area, yes.
How many people were at the high top table that you described?
Initially, when I walked in, I believe there was Brian Jr., and he was flanked by one, possibly two females.
And you indicated that basically you were positioned in that area with your back to the door for most of the evening.
I was like I would describe this diagonally across from him and had my back to the door that I had come in, which would be the breezeway door.
But at some point, you had moved out of that kitchen area with Brian Albert, correct?
Well, I briefly went and looked at some photos.
Right. So you moved out of that area with Brian Albert alone to go to a different room.
Yes, and I think his wife, Nicole, might have popped in the room for a second, but it was brief.
Did you have anything to drink while you were at 34 Fairview?
Well, when I got there, they didn't have any whiskey. I believe they might have put a beer or something else in front of me. And, I knew it was going to be a short night there because I just wasn't going to, I'm not a beer drinker.
You've indicated in a prior testimony that you've never been upstairs in Brian's house, correct?
Would you say upstairs?
Yeah, I'm going to get to something in just a second. That's
is like, you're talking like second floor?
Correct.
Yes. No.
Okay. You testified to that in a prior hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
In May of 2023.
Yes.
And you said specifically, quote, "I've never been upstairs." Is that
yes.
Right? You understood when you gave that statement that you were under oath?
Yes.
You were telling the truth?
I just thought of something really fucked up. Okay, people, like, I don't believe this. I just thought it would just... I just thought of something really fucked up. What if this dude and Brian Albert were like really playing grab ass and John like caught him? Like dudes were just like, "Oh yeah, you're a tough guy. You come here, tough guy." And then John was like, "What?" And then they were like John was taking off his shoes, and then they were just like, they just. What if that's what happened, dude? I wonder. I mean, I don't think that's what happened, but I mean, that's the problem is we have no idea what the fuck happened in that house. We have absolutely no idea what the fuck happened in that house. All we know is whatever happened to John happened in that house. Chloe Albert's revenge. The Albert's driveway was the only plowing he was doing that night. Right. I just got that. Oh my God. I just got that, people.
Yes.
Same oath that you took here today, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that the photos that you saw were on the first floor living room area. Is that right?
I believe that's where they were, yes.
So the only floor downstairs from the first floor would be what?
The basement.
And the only floor upstairs from the basement would be what?
The first floor.
So if someone were to describe going upstairs to look at the photos that you've described on the first floor, where would they have to be to go upstairs to look at those photos?
Are you saying on the first floor?
Correct. If the photos are on the first floor,
yeah,
and someone said, "We went upstairs to look at those photos," where would they have to be?
I guess upstairs.
The people would have to be upstairs?
Well, the photos would be upstairs. Is that what you're saying?
Where are the people? Where would the people have to be to go upstairs to the living room to look at photos?
I'm not understanding the question.
If the photos are on the first floor, Mr. Higgins,
yes.
The only floor beneath it is the basement.
Okay.
Yeah,
someone
bro.
says, "We went upstairs to look at the photos," where would they have to be?
Well, who said they went upstairs?
All right, so Mr. Jackson, you can save this for argument. Next question, please.
Hold on.
If Brian Albert said you went upstairs to look at the photos, people would have described what? First floor would be what? Telling
It popped in the room for a second, but
moved out of that area with Brian Albert alone to go to a different room.
Yes, and I think his wife Nicole might have popped in the room for a second, but it was brief.
Did you have anything to drink while you were at 34 Fairview?
Well, when I got there, they didn't have any whiskey. I believe they might have put a beer or something else in front of me, and I knew it was going to be a short night there because I just wasn't going to. I'm not a beer drinker.
Mike Granat said blockhead.
You've indicated in a prior testimony that you've never been upstairs in Brian's house, correct?
When you say upstairs, like you're talking like second floor?
Correct.
Yes. No.
Okay. You testified
All right.
in a prior hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
In May of 2020.
Boom. Hold on.
Okay. You testified to that
is like
testimony that you've never been upstairs in Brian's house, correct?
When you say upstairs, like you're talking like second floor?
Correct.
Yes. No.
Okay. You testified to that in a prior hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
In May of 2023.
Yes.
And you said specifically, quote, "I've never been upstairs." Is that
Yes.
right? All right. You understood when you gave that statement that you were under oath?
Yes.
You were telling the truth?
Yes.
Same oath that you took here today, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that the photos that you saw were on the first floor living room area. Is that right?
I believe that's where they were. Yes.
So the only floor downstairs from the first floor would be what?
The basement.
And the only floor upstairs from the basement would be what?
The first floor.
So if someone were to describe going upstairs to look at the photos that you've described on the first floor, where would they have to be to go upstairs to look at those photos?
Are you saying on the first floor?
Correct. If the photos are on the first floor,
Yeah.
and someone said, we went upstairs to look at those photos, where would they have to be?
I guess upstairs.
The people would have to be upstairs?
Well, the photos would be upstairs. Is that what you're saying?
Where are the people? Where would the people have to be to go upstairs?
Jackson's
to the living
fucking
room
with
to
him.
look at the photos?
I'm not understanding the question.
If the photos are on the first floor, Mr. Higgins,
Yes.
the only floor beneath it is the basement,
Okay.
and someone says, we went upstairs to look at the photos, where would they have to be?
Well, who said they went upstairs?
All right, so Mr. Jackson, you can save this for
Yeah,
argument.
because
Next
that's
question, please.
that's what I want to know. When because was he getting to like because nobody said that they went upstairs to look at the photos.
If Brian Albert said you went upstairs to look at the photos.
Oh, so Brian Albert said they went upstairs to look at the photos.
Now, Brian Albert had a weight room someplace in the house, right?
Yes.
And a gym.
I guess he called it a home gym.
Where was that?
In the basement.
Had you ever been down to that basement before?
Yes, one time.
When was that?
That was during the twins' graduation party. Summertime.
Summertime before?
Sometime before, yes.
Summer of 2021?
Maybe.
So Brian Albert testified that you've never been in the basement. That would not be accurate.
Objection.
Sustained.
Now, you do recall giving testimony in another proceeding on June 1st, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And of course, the same thing applied. You were under oath. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that it was a crime to lie under oath?
Yes.
In that proceeding? During the course of that proceeding, you were asked who was in the house and who you saw come into the house, correct?
Yes.
And during the course of that testimony, you admitted that you observed a tall, dark-haired male enter the Albert house that night, correct?
I believe that was in reference to ask to somebody's brother in a pickup. I don't know if that was during.
All I'm asking you, Mr. Higgins, is did you say that? Did you say a tall, dark-haired male entered the house while you were there?
I said they might have.
Did you say they might have?
Yes. And that was in reference to somebody's brother.
Yes.
Isn't it true that you indicated that a male showed up who may have been Julie Nagel's brother, correct?
I said might have, yes.
Right. But there was no question in your mind that a male did in fact show up. You described him as tall and dark-haired, right?
Yes.
You were asked, a male showed up where? And you answered, quote, showed up at the house that I didn't know. I think he was there very briefly. I was half paying attention to it. Question, did that male come inside the house? Answer, I believe he did. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So a male did come in the house that night, correct?
No, I said I believe he did. I wasn't sure.
Well, when you testified at the prior hearing, you were asked, so you saw someone else come? Question. Answer, somebody else. Yes. End quote. That's what you testified to under oath, wasn't it?
Is that in reference to that?
What page are you on, Mr. Jackson?
Page 485, 486, I believe. Yes. If I may, Coach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Look at the top part of the highlighted. Mr. Higgins, do you have that in mind?
I do.
May I approach?
Yes.
You were asked the question, quote, did that male come inside the house? You answered, I believe he did. Question, so you saw someone else come? Answer, somebody else. Yes, correct?
Yes, but I also said that I wasn't paying attention.
I realize that you want to explain your answer. I've asked you a very simple question. Was that your testimony in front of another proceeding?
Yes, it was.
At another proceeding, which you were under oath?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You also said that you only remember seeing that person come in briefly, and it looked like he was having a conversation with the two girls briefly, correct?
Yes.
You were asked how long was the person in there roughly, and you said it was quick. Less than a couple of minutes. I mean, it was quick, correct?
Yes.
And then you were asked what he looked like, and you said, I feel like they were a little bit taller. They had dark hair, correct?
Yes.
So you testified that a tall, dark-haired male came into the house, at least briefly, in your testimony, correct?
Yes.
Approximately when in the timeline of events did that unidentified male enter the residence?
I don't know the time frame. It would have been while I was there.
When you gave your statement to the Massachusetts State Police, you didn't tell them about a tall, dark-haired male coming into the residence at 34 Fairview, did you, on February 3rd?
I don't recall.
You were specifically asked by ADA Lally, when you testified before the state court grand jury on April 28th, 2022, who else was present, correct?
Yes.
And you never mentioned a tall, dark-haired male coming into the house, did you?
No.
However, on June 1st, 2023, at this other proceeding, you were specifically instructed at the start of your testimony that it was a crime to give materially false statements in that proceeding, correct?
Yes.
And that's the proceeding in which you admitted that there was a tall, dark-haired male who came in the house.
I
Yes
said
or
I-
no? Yes or no? It was the
Can,
proceeding.
can you answer that, yes or no?
No, I can't, Your Honor.
Next question, Mr. Jackson.
Wow.
The quotations or the quotes that I just read you,
I
which you just
mean,
looked at, that was
so-
from the June 1, 2023 hearing, wasn't it?
So in another proceeding, he admits that he saw John come into the house. Now, of course, they don't say John, but who else could they fucking be talking about? So he basically admits it. And now he's saying that he doesn't remember saying it.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, no, DW. I'm gonna be doing this a lot now.
Just read it, and that's
There's
another page, just to
testimony,
look at
and
that
I'm
page,
just like,
see
wait
the
a
date on
second.
The first page.
I see it. Yes.
May I approach?
So I'm gonna review a lot of
What's the date, sir?
testimony, and I'm
June
gonna
1st?
watch it with you guys.
2023?
Yes.
How long did you stay at the Albert residence in total? Like from the time you got there till the time you left?
Maybe like a half hour, less than an hour.
And what time did you leave? Say 12:30, you said?
I think I said between 12:30 and 1 a.m.
And you indicated that you pretty much didn't say goodbye to anybody, right?
At the house.
Correct.
I just kind of left. I said, see you later.
All right,
Turned around,
hold
left.
on one
Matter of fact,
second.
at that same hearing,
I think I said between 12:30 and 1 a.m.
and you indicated that you pretty much didn't say goodbye to anybody, right?
At the house.
Correct.
I just kind of left. I said, see you later. Turned around, left.
Matter of fact, at that same hearing that we just looked at, your statement was, I made a beeline out of there, correct?
I don't know if that's the verbiage I used, but I left
Why the rush? Why did you leave so quick?
because it was a long day and I just wanted to go home.
Except you didn't go home, did you?
No, I went back to Canton PD.
Right. So it wasn't such a long day that you actually drove home. You went back to the Canton Police Department at 1 or 1:30 in the morning, correct?
To move vehicles, correct.
Well, let's talk about you leaving. You walked out the side breezeway door, correct?
Yes.
You walked down the driveway.
Yes.
There's nothing obstructing your view at that point of the lawn to your right, correct?
I didn't look over there, but I would not think so.
Between you and the flagpole, in other words, it wasn't some mound of dirt or something obstructing your view. You could see straight across if you wanted to, correct?
If I wanted to, yes.
It's just basically a flat grassy lawn with a light dusting of white powder snow on it, right?
All right.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much.
I want to do something real quick here. I want to see something really quick here. Hold on a second here. I got to see if I can find this. Yeah, somebody posted something that I wanted to explore here. But I got to find it. People have been doing great stuff on Twitter, I got to tell you, or on X, whatever you call it. I wonder if I reposted. I think I reposted it. Let me check. I don't see it. That's so annoying. Or maybe. No. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Just give me 1 second here. That Plevin thing is really funny. Okay. Yeah, so I found it. All right, so this person posted, sorry about that, guys. This person posted, okay, breaking news. This is Friday. We now know the true crime timeline of when Higgins left 34 Fairview, and it ain't good. It's amazing that what you miss when you're watching in real time. I can't believe I didn't catch this until now. We always knew that he went to do admin work at Canton PD at 1:29 per his key log, but never knew what he did prior to that after leaving 34 Fairview. He originally claimed he wasn't a beer guy, so he left 34 Fairview after only a few minutes. He specifically says he wasn't still there when John was implying that he left 34 Fairview sometime before 12:19 a.m. See, this is, and I mean, because I this person actually put some really good stuff on Twitter, but this is inaccurate. But that alone made no sense because we know he texted John at the time saying, "You come in here." But anyways, back to the facts. Here, he is questioned by Lally about where his Jeep was parked that night, then asks if he took the same Jeep to Canton PD after he left Fairview. Higgins answers yes, directly after. Canton PD is only about a 5-minute drive from 34 Fairview, which means Higgins was still at 34 Fairview until approximately 1:20, 1:25 a.m. Doesn't matter the precise time. It matters that he was, in fact, in the home when John arrived and stayed long after Karen Reed was gone. See, that's the thing is we just watched him testify. This is my issue with that, is we just watched Higgins testify that he left between 12:30 and 1, which gives him time. But the thing is if you went directly, it's still a good catch, because if he left at 1 a.m. and he doesn't, it takes him 30 minutes to log into the police station. Takes him 30 minutes and it's a 5-minute drive. He's probably, and he's either lying about going directly there, or he was at 34 Fairview for longer than he says. More than likely. So, I mean, this is a great catch by this person, but she got the time kind of wrong because he never said 12:19. She said, at least not in cross-examination that we're watching. He specifically said between 12:30 and 1 is when he left. And right, if he would have, you're right. If it would have been 12:30, he would have seen Karen and John for sure. Right. Great point, Micro Dots. The problem is we don't know what to lie. Just know when he got to the CPD. Right. We know that there's a lie in there because something doesn't make sense. We just don't know what he's actually lying about. And I mean, everything about this guy is all wrong.
can both agree that it's not free. It wouldn't have been 3 feet now.
Right. So it would have been a light dusting of snow.
More snow than there was there.
How far would you say it was from the edge of the driveway over to your Jeep?
From where the back of my Jeep was parked?
Correct.
Maybe a foot or two, or it could have been even with the edge of the driveway.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's probably a bad question on my part. When you left the house, as you started to walk down the driveway toward your Jeep, how long of a walk is that? Across the yard to down the driveway to get to your Jeep?
Short.
30 feet?
Maybe.
Okay. During the course of you walking out the door, heading to your Jeep, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary in the yard, correct?
No.
You certainly didn't see a body in the yard.
Of course not.
Now, you get in your car, and it's facing directly toward the flagpole, correct?
It's facing directly up the street. The flagpole would be off to the 1 o'clock.
Right. So just a few degrees off to the right, the flagpole is, correct?
It's off to the right.
Just a few degrees.
I don't know how many degrees, but it's off to the right.
Well, you just said 1 o'clock. You're
Yes.
a former military guy, right?
I am.
Okay. 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock on a watch. 12 o'clock is due north or right in front of you. 1 o'clock is just a few degrees to the right, correct? That's what you meant.
At the 1 o'clock, yes.
Okay. So you didn't see a body when you got in your Jeep.
No, I did not.
Then you turned the engine on, correct?
And the wipers, yes.
And the lights.
Yes.
And the lights lit up everything in front of you, correct?
Yes.
Still didn't see a body, did you?
No, I did not.
Sitting in the driver's seat, you put the car in gear and you begin to roll forward, right?
Yes.
But there was a plow on the ground. It scraped for a foot, right?
Yes.
So you picked it back up,
Yes.
looked out the windshield to make sure the plow was situated, and continued to roll forward, correct?
I knew it was up when I continued to drive.
And as you continue to drive, you're looking ahead of you and probably to your left to make sure that there's no oncoming cars, right?
Well, I knew there was no oncoming cars. I was just driving forward.
Right. So your focus is directly in front of you.
On the road, yes.
And everything in your peripheral vision is right in front of you as well, correct?
Yes.
Nothing obstructing your view.
I mean, other than snow on the car.
Nothing obstructing your view outside toward the lawn. Wasn't another car parked there.
No, I didn't. There was no vehicles in front of me, no.
It was the roadway was relatively empty.
There was no cars.
And you didn't see a body then either, did you?
I did not.
And as you drive past that flagpole with everything lit up and everything in your peripheral vision, you still didn't see a body on that lawn, did you?
I did not.
You're a former firefighter, is that right?
Yes.
Did that put you in a position of being a first responder?
Yes.
And you're currently a law enforcement officer.
Yes.
That puts you in the position of being a first responder, correct?
I'm also a tactical medic, yes.
Which means that you have training to be an observer. You're a trained observer, more than the average person, correct?
Yes.
You look for things out of the ordinary. You look for things that don't belong. As an investigator,
Right.
former firefighter, first responder, correct?
Yes.
And you did not see a 200.
So you mean to tell me, Agent Brian Higgins, you mean to tell me that you have all this training as an investigator, as a first responder, and you did not see, after we've already established that there's nothing obstructing your view, you didn't see a body laying in the lawn that I would have spotted for sure, without a doubt, after seeing that lawn? Guaranteed? You're going to tell me you didn't see a body laying out there? Amazing.
217-pound man bleeding out on the side of the road in the lawn or in the yard, just to your right by that flagpole, correct?
If I did,
I didn't
I
ask
would
you
have done
if you
something
did.
to help him.
I asked you if you saw one.
No, I did not.
And that's because there was no body there, correct?
I didn't see anything.
What's up, Pearl?
Because if there was a body there, you certainly would have seen that.
Objection.
Where exactly did you go when you left 34 Fairview?
I went back to the Canton police station.
When you were asked that on direct examination, you said you weren't sure where you went when you left 34 Fairview, either home or to Canton PD.
No, that's not what I testified to.
Did something jog your memory
That is-
where you went?
That is
See,
not.
what's interesting is what we now know is that all of this is such bullshit because something really, really important is missing. And that is the fact that there was an exchange between this guy and John O'Keefe at the Waterfall Bar and Grill just before he left. This is all being left out of this testimony, which is very interesting because the testimony is still a whole lot of bullshit. But this one very, very viable fact is being left out. I mean, I'm never the one. I'm always the last one to like point fingers at people, and I'm not pointing fingers. What I'm saying is this dude needs to be investigated. This dude should have been investigated. Plain and simple. There was motive, means, and opportunity. And I'm not saying he did it. What I'm saying is it sure looks bad. Everything that we know, in my opinion, absolutely merits an investigation.
That's not what I testified to. That was in relation to where did I go after I left 34 Fairview the next morning.
Why did you go to Canton Police Department that morning?
What's the question?
Why did you go to Canton Police Department that morning?
The morning when I left.
Why would he stall to answer that question? Because that is a very, very valid question. Why did you go to the Canton PD while you were drunk and think it was necessary to start moving cars around? While intoxicated, go back to the Canton PD and move cars around. Why did you think that that was such a necessary thing to do at that time of night? And why are you stalling to answer the question, acting like it wasn't a very short and simple question that you, an educated investigator, would be able to just simply answer quickly, which is, I went there to move cars around, if that were the truth. Wait, what was the question? You heard him, dude. Why did you go to the Canton PD that morning? Why'd you go? It's a simple question.
I left 34 Fairview the Friday into Saturday
Correct.
to move 2 vehicles.
There's been quite an evolution of that story over the years, has there not?
I don't understand the question.
All right, let's talk about that for a second. You had an initial interview with Massachusetts State Police on February 3rd, 2022.
I'm not calling you a liar, but
you indicated during the course of that interview, which was just a couple of days, 5 days after the events in question, that you left Brian Albert's house, went to Canton PD to, quote, fulfill some administrative obligations, end quote, correct? You later said, when you testified in front of the grand jury on April 28th, that you went to Canton PD to do, quote, administrative work, correct?
Yes.
You never mentioned.
I said administrative things.
You said administrative work was your testimony in your transcript.
I believe it was things, but okay.
Okay. Can we agree, Mr. Higgins, that you didn't mention anything about moving cars around, correct?
Well, that would be administrative.
So when you say I went to Canton PD to do administrative work or administrative obligations, you meant moving a car, your personal vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Although you didn't say.
Now I'm not a criminal profiler, and I'm not an expert on liars, but I've had my experience with them. Okay? I think we all have. And if you're inclined enough to pay attention to liars, like if you've been on this earth for almost half a century like I have, I've run into quite a few liars. Hell, in my much younger days, I did a bit of lying myself. Turns out I didn't like the taste for it. I'm too lazy, too much to keep up with. So I chose to just not be scared to say what I got to say. But the fact is that there are people who just do this compulsively. There are people who do it from time to time to get out of trouble, but people who constantly get into trouble, right? All kinds of reasons why you run into people who lie quite a bit in your life. Usually the kind of reaction you get is just fucking, oh, fuck, okay. Because you could spot it. And you're already at one point realizing that you want to get the fuck away from this person. So, because it's really annoying to sit there and listen to somebody who is doing everything they can to avoid telling the truth for whatever reason. It's very strange. So it's irritating to sit there and listen to somebody and wonder if they're full of shit or not. It's a really irritating thing. And this dude is doing something that I've picked up on over the years. He is doing a very childish method of deflecting by using semantics. Pay attention. You'll see exactly what I mean here by semantics.
Why did you go to Canton Police Department that morning?
What's the question?
Why did you go to Canton Police Department that morning?
The morning when I left 34 Fairview, the Friday into Saturday.
Correct.
Stalling
to move two
stalling, and then here we go. Moving
vehicles.
2 cars.
There's been quite an evolution of that story over the years, has there not?
I don't understand the question.
All right, let's talk about that for a second. You had an initial interview
You totally understand the question.
with Massachusetts State Police on February 3rd,
It means that over the years you have testified. Don't sit here and play dumb, because you know that we're sitting here talking about 2 different grand jury testimonies that are being referenced here. So when he says things like there's been an evolution with that story, meaning that when you have been in the position that you're in right now, where you're having to sit there and testify under oath, you have changed your story and it has evolved. You know exactly what he means by that. But of course, you deflect. But we haven't gotten to the semantics yet. Watch this.
2022.
Yes.
Correct? And you indicated during the course of that interview, which was just a couple of days, 5 days after the events in question, that you left Brian Albert's house, went to Canton PD to, quote, fulfill some administrative obligations, end quote. Correct? You later said, when you testified in front of the grand jury on April 28th, that you went to Canton PD to do, quote, administrative work. Correct?
Yes.
You never mentioned.
I said administrative things.
You said administrative work was your testimony in your transcript.
I believe it was things, but
Okay. He's adamant saying that I said things, not work, things. Administrative means work, bro. That's literally what administrative means, dude. It's work related. What you're doing is fucking work. If you're putting administrative, if you're putting the word fucking administrative right in front of it, it means you're doing work, dude. Administrative things is administrative work. It's the exact same fucking thing. It's not even like kind of the same thing. It's exactly the same fucking thing. I don't understand why this. Well, I do understand, because what he's doing is he's avoiding the question by arguing semantics, things that don't matter, things that make no difference at all whatsoever. Whether he said things or whether he said work, it doesn't fucking matter. Administrative is administrative. It's not even splitting hairs.
but okay.
Okay. Can we agree, Mr. Higgins, that
But
you
okay.
didn't mention anything about moving cars around, correct?
Well, that would be administrative.
So when you say I went to Canton PD to do administrative work or administrative obligations, you meant moving your car, your personal vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Although you didn't say that you were going there to move your personal vehicle, right?
No, I said I didn't move my personal vehicle. I moved work vehicles.
Or either one. You just traded off vehicles, moved them out of the way, right?
I moved the purpose for going back there was to move 2 work vehicles.
And the reality is you had gotten Canton PD earlier in the afternoon and actually moved some other vehicles, traded vehicles, didn't you?
I swapped vehicles out. That's correct.
Right. And you left the vehicles that you now claim you had to go move exactly where they were, even though you knew a blizzard was coming, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So you didn't move the cars a few hours earlier, knowing that you just have to come back and move those cars a few hours later.
I was more concerned to go eat and have a drink because it had been a long day.
So wouldn't you want to move those cars early on so you wouldn't have to go all the way back to Canton and play in
Right.
the parking lot with these cars in the middle of the night?
Not really.
What?
Mr. Higgins, you weren't actually at Canton PD to do administrative.
So let me get this straight then, dude. So it was more convenient for you, instead of just doing it beforehand, you decided it was more important to go get fucking hammered drunk and then go. And the only reason you leave a party is because there's no whiskey. You didn't leave the party because you had to go do administrative work, which is moving cars. Administrative work, if you're a fucking valet, that's administrative work if you're a fucking valet. Other than that, that's not administrative work. And you didn't leave the party because you had to do this so-called administrative work. You left the party because there was no whiskey. You testified to this. So, which is it? So why didn't you, instead of, Jackson is asking a very valid question. You would think that a professional like this man, who's expected to be held to such a high regard through his professionalism, sitting on the stand and presenting himself to the jury and, you know, being the guy that he's supposed to be, would make a sound administrative decision like moving those cars prior to going and getting hammered drunk, driving around all night, and then going back and then doing this so-called administrative work.
Work at 1:30 in the morning. Were you?
I was moving the vehicles. I'm sure it's on video.
And we'll talk about the video in just a second. You entered the Canton police station through which door?
I believe it was the door to the right of the Sally Port as you come in the main entrance.
And you made note of who was on duty that night, correct?
I didn't make note. I walked by, I saw somebody sitting in the control room, and then just went about my business.
So you immediately knew that your friend, Officer Good, was working dispatch, right?
So do you need to hear something or? Really hot over there? So why don't we take a 5-minute?
Court, all right. Put everything up.
Ooh, you suck.
Court back in session, please be seated.
Thank you. Right, let's bring Mr. Higgins back. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Mr. Higgins, if you went back to Canton PD at 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, you would certainly be in a position to monitor anything that was happening at Canton PD at the time that at least you were there, correct?
No.
I mean, you would be inside the building, correct?
Yes.
With access to dispatch and anything else that was happening around that floor, that area, correct?
I did not go into dispatch.
You would have access to the interior of the police station at that time if you went back to Canton PD at 1:30 in the morning, correct?
I'd have access.
You could see if there was any activity going on, any calls, call outs, things of that nature.
I didn't have access to that. I wasn't looking for it.
Not that you were looking for it, Mr. Higgins. My question is more.
Here, this is for you turtle writers here. Hold on. Oh my god, I can't believe some of y'all made such a big deal about the dude slurping his drink, bro. Like this shit happens. We're gonna drink stuff here and sip on coffee or whatever when we're sitting here having to entertain you guys for hours at a time, man.
Is more simple than that. If you were there, you'd know what was going on inside the building.
No.
So if you walked in, you would just be completely oblivious to anything that was happening. For instance, if troopers started amassing to go out to a call, you wouldn't see that.
Objection.
The objection sustained. Ask it differently.
You were able to monitor. You'd be in a position to monitor what was happening at the station around 1:30 in the morning when you were over there, correct?
No.
So how long did it take you to get home from Canton PD?
A little longer from after I moved the vehicles.
Correct.
I don't know. I mean, it could have been 15 minutes. It could have been 20 minutes.
You live alone?
I do.
You did then?
Yes.
What did you do when you got home?
I think I had something to eat, maybe a couple more drinks.
And you went to bed?
Was either on the couch or in the bed watching the news.
In any of the prior testimony that you've given,
Watching the
ever
news.
indicated ever that you slept on the couch that night?
I don't know.
Well, you reviewed your testimony before you.
Well, those would be the two options.
Okay.
I
And that's
woke
what
up
you reviewed your testimony before you-
with no pants and I shit all over myself.
When you reviewed your testimony previous to coming in here today, did you ever testify?
I had the
you slept
whiskey
on the couch that
shits. And I didn't
I
wake
slept in
up.
my bed, but I could have started somewhere else.
Did you ever testify in the previous hearing that you started somewhere else?
Not that I know.
Did you ever mention a couch in any of your description about what you did when you went home that night?
Not that I recall.
As a matter of fact, what you did mention under questioning in a different hearing was that you may have gotten something to eat, then went to bed, put your stuff on the nightstand next to your bed, correct?
That would be the routine, yes.
You did not make or receive any calls after returning home that night.
No.
You were clear when you went to sleep in your prior testimony that you put both your work and your personal phone. You had two at the time, correct?
Yes.
A personal and a work cell phone, right?
Yes.
You put them both on your bedside table because that's what you do every night. Is that right?
Most often, yes.
As a matter of fact, you were asked whether or not you have a charging station, and you said, yeah, that's right. on my bedside.
I don't know. I don't have a charging station.
Right. You said no, bedside. In other words, you keep your phone by your bedside, on your bedside table.
Usually.
You also testified that you did not use your phone that night to go on social media, correct?
That's correct.
You indicated that you don't go on, you didn't go on social media because you don't have social media. You don't use it that much.
I don't.
You said, I don't have the gram. I'm guessing that means Instagram, correct?
That is correct.
And you don't use Snapchat and you quote, don't do those things,
The
correct?
gram.
That's correct.
All right. So you testified that
I've
the
never
first
heard
call
that
you
shit.
received after returning home on the 29th was a call from Chief Berkowitz just before 7 a.m., which woke you up. Is that right?
It was around 6:30ish, I think.
Okay. Your testimony previously was at some point before 7 a.m., that call was the one that woke you up.
Yes.
And it turns out, Mr. Higgins, that was a lie. wasn't it?
Gram.
No, it wasn't a lie.
I'm not on the
When you were
gram.
asked that question at a previous hearing, you didn't know that the person questioning you had your phone records, did you?
I assume they did.
And you were thereafter confronted with those phone records, correct?
I was asked about them. Yes.
And those phone records established that you and Brian Albert actually exchanged not one,
I love this
but
shit.
2 phone calls.
Yeah, I'm not on the gram or the snapper or the twits. Not on any of those, you know. Not on the gram.
This guy's killing me, dude.
At 2:22 a.m. that morning, at a time when you claimed you were in bed asleep, correct?
I have no recollection of any phone calls.
May I approach you?
Yes.
May I approach you? Yes. Thank you. Take a look at those 2 documents and tell me if you recognize at least the top one.
Do they have a page number for me to follow or no?
I was just asking Ms. Little. I don't think we've introduced them, and no, they don't have a page number, but I'm going to ask that they be marked for identification at least at this point. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
These are, you know what, I'm going to, if it's okay with the court, maybe witness maintain those documents?
Sure.
Yeah, I've been chatting with the gram model, and you know,
I'd like to have those
she doesn't
documents
ask me
marked
for that
only
much
for
money.
identification with the court's
I just
permission.
send her what I got.
As one exhibit?
We can do it as one exhibit, that's fine.
Okay. Could you please hand those to Madam Clerk?
Yes. Your Honor.
She really likes it when I avoid her vagina at all costs.
Thank you.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Mr. Higgins, you see the document on the lower right, it has a page number, or there's an numeric indicator 01770, in other words, 1770
On the lower right-hand corner?
in the right, I mean in the red.
It says 01771.
Look at the next page. I think they're just out of order.
Why don't you come show
Am I
me?
missing something?
Dude, that is not a great haircut.
Sorry, it's okay, it's okay.
What do you
I'll use
mean?
The one with QQ and the one with 1771 because the other numbers.
When you're referencing them. When you're referencing them?
When I'm referencing them.
Okay.
Take a look at the one that's marked with the QQ.
I see it.
You've seen that document before, correct?
I think I've seen it maybe on a screen, not in my hand.
That was these were the records that were shown to you at a prior hearing.
Yes.
And you acknowledge that at least the one marked QQ is a record of your calls, correct?
It has my name, my telephone number, correct?
And it indicates that on January 29th, 2022, at 2:22 and 35 seconds, you received a call from Brian Albert, duration of 1 second, correct?
Oops.
Yes.
In other words, Brian Albert called you at 2:22 and 35 seconds, but it looks like you missed the call, correct?
I see the 1 second call, yes.
There's a second call just below that on the same date at 2:22 and 52 seconds from you to Brian Albert. Do you see that one?
Yes.
And the duration of that call is 22 seconds, correct?
I see that, yes.
So 17 seconds after you missed a call, according to these records from Brian Albert, you called him back and there was a call lasting 22 seconds. Is that right?
That's what the records say.
May I approach?
Yes.
So the fact is, you were speaking to Brian Albert in the middle of the night, approximately 3 hours before Mr. O'Keefe's body was found in his yard, correct?
No, that's not correct.
And that was 5 minutes before 2:27 a.m. when there was a Google search for how long to die in the cold, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
And then, of course, you lied about that under oath in that prior proceeding by saying, I don't remember this phone call.
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you, in fact, tell the truth at the prior proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call?
I always tell the truth.
Did you lie under oath?
Ah,
No, I did not.
that sounds like
Tell
a
us you
fucking
did.
lie if I
Objection.
ever heard one.
Did you lie under oath, sir?
No, I did not.
Proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call?
I always tell the truth.
Did you lie under oath? In fact, tell the truth at the prior proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call.
I always tell the truth.
Did you lie under oath, sir?
No, I did not.
No, I did not. I did not lie under oath. No, I did not.
You're lying. And you're a piece of shit.
Totally.
Tell us if you did.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Would you tell us if you
You
did?
acknowledge that there's a 22-second phone call in your phone records, correct?
That's what's reflected by the record.
And 22 seconds is quite an amount of time. Would you agree?
It's 22 seconds.
As a matter of fact, it's about this long, with the court's permission.
The court does not give permission. That's argument, Mr. Jackson.
If we were to count off 22 seconds, that's an uncomfortably long time, is it not?
No.
It's long enough to have a conversation. isn't it?
I didn't have a conversation.
Is 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
No.
A human being can't have a conversation in 22 seconds?
Sure they could. I don't think it's anything of substance.
Okay, so that's my question. Is it 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
I don't agree with it. No.
Now, when you were asked about this and you were shown these records, that prior hearing, you had an explanation for what that 22-second call may have been and what the prior call may have been, correct?
Yes.
What was your explanation?
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly used as a butt dial.
Butt
So
dial.
you think it's possible that you may have butt dialed Brian Albert for a 22-second call that you're not aware of?
I think it's possible that he could have been inadvertently called back, but I have no recollection of that, nor did I have any conversation with anybody.
But you admitted that you lived alone.
How did you like that?
That's correct.
I want to ride that horse again sometime. Ooh, yeah.
You have an iPhone at the time.
Yes.
Matter of fact, that number reflecting those records is in fact or was in fact an iPhone. Is that right?
Yes.
You already indicated under oath that you don't sleep with your iPhone. You keep it on your bedside table. Is that right?
Most often, yes.
There's nobody else in your room. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you had your
I've got a solution to all of this.
Trace the signal.
ringer on because you were awakened the next morning by a call from Chief Berkowitz, right?
Yes, the ringer was on.
When somebody calls you and you miss the call, there's a notification that shows up on that iPhone. Isn't that right?
I don't know how mine's set up at the time. I don't know.
And if you open up your phone app and you go to recents, it shows all the missed calls, correct?
I think you can get to them, yes.
And you know that the iPhone does not automatically call people back. That is not a thing, right? You miss a call from someone, it's not just going to automatically re-ring them.
Yes, I think we both know that, yes.
So to call somebody back, you have to go on your iPhone, open it up from a locked position, navigate to a phone application, then navigate to a contact, and then make a call, correct?
Objection.
You can break it down.
You're not speaking my language.
In order to call somebody back, if you've missed a call,
on
you
MySpace.
first have to unlock your iPhone.
You would have to, yes.
You can do that either through Face ID or through a 4 or 6 digit passcode, right?
Yes.
Don't tell me the code, but did you have a 4 or 6 digit passcode locking your iPhone at the time?
I don't know if it was a digit code or a Face ID.
Well, if you have a Face ID, you have to have a digit code as well, right?
I guess so.
Okay. Did you open your phone with your Face ID or a multi-digit code?
I have no recollection of answering the phone or calling anybody back.
You also have to navigate, once the phone is unlocked, you have to navigate to the phone app, correct?
I don't know necessarily if you unlocked it with your face. If it would be
I don't understand. Let me think about it real quick. Let me think about it. Does it answer? I don't know if it answers. I don't understand. Why don't I understand any of this? I have no idea what.
I'm retarded?
It'd be right there. I've never thought about it.
Once you unlock that phone app, you have to manipulate the phone on the screen with your finger in order to make a call, correct?
You would have to hit at least one button, I guess.
At least one, right?
Yes.
So that's 3 or 4 interactions with the phone that have to be physically undertaken to just make one call, right?
But I didn't make any calls.
So how'd you butt dial?
I didn't make any calls. I have no recollection of any calls, nor did I speak with anybody.
After you were shown these phone records at that prior hearing, in that hearing at least, you finally admitted that you did in fact call Brian Albert back, but this time you claimed the two of you just sort of sat in silence. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I'm going to sustain it in that form. You can ask it appropriately, Mr. Jackson.
Did you ever previously testify that you did in fact make the call, but you did not have a conversation during the course of the call?
What I think I testified was something must have happened, but I didn't have any phone call.
Do you remember being asked, quote, did you call him back? End quote, and you answered yes. And then there was a question.
There was a series of questions there. That's only a fragment of what I said.
I'm not done yet, Mr. Higgins. Can you answer my question?
Yes.
To the question, did you call him back? Your answer was yes, correct?
I think it was kind of I must have.
Then you were asked, well, the answer was yes. And then there was a colloquy back and forth where you spoke over each other's words, right?
There was dialogue back and forth about this whole thing, yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Motherfucker!
May I?
Yes.
You see the pink highlighted question and the pink highlighted answer?
Yes.
What's the question? Please read it for me.
Did you call him back?
What's the answer?
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Jesus, dude.
You then said a little bit further in that same conversation, I did not have a conversation, correct?
I did not have a conversation with anybody.
And the question following that was, you just listened to the phone, what someone was telling you? Answer, it's possible that the phone picked up on the other end and nobody said anything, and then I terminated the call, end quote. That's what you said at the other hearing under oath, correct? Yes or no?
Can I see it?
Sure. Ma'am?
Yes.
Same thing.
Thank you.
The bottom portion.
Thank you.
If you could read that answer to yourself, please. You have that in mind, sir?
No, can I have a minute, please?
Okay, smartass. Let's see what this mystery's all about.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Does that refresh your recollection of how you answered that question?
Yes.
And your answer was, it's possible that the phone picked up on the other end and nobody said anything, and then I terminated the call. That's the only thing.
Meaning it's possible it could have happened.
It's possible it could have happened that you had a 22-second call with Brian Albert,
I
correct?
did not have a 22-second call with Brian Albert. There was no conversation.
You've had some time to think about this
Oh.
22 a.m. call, correct? Since that last testimony.
Some time to think about it?
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it, no.
So for over a year, you haven't even considered the fact that you were caught with a phone record lying about not having a conversation with Brian Albert at 2:22 in the morning.
Objection.
Mr. Higgins, what was so important that you and Brian Albert needed to discuss something at 2:22 in the morning?
There was no discussion. I never talked to Brian Albert.
Lies.
22-second phone call, sir.
Objection.
Sustained.
I want to talk about what you did after you woke up on January 29th, 2022. That was obviously a memorable day in your mind, correct?
It was a sad day.
The very first person you spoke to after waking up was who?
Well, I believe I said I got the call from Chief Berkowitz.
That's not my question.
Say that again?
Who's the first person you spoke to on the phone that morning when you woke up?
Brian Albert.
Whose idea was it for you to drive to Brian Albert's house that morning?
It was my idea.
Was it important to you to speak with Brian Albert in person rather than over text or phone call?
No, it was important to support the people that were there.
So of course you drove over to his house, you had an opportunity to speak to him in person without any law enforcement presence, correct?
I was there with everybody, not just Brian Albert.
And Brian Albert was in the house and you were in the house, right?
That's correct.
So you had access to him and others.
Sustained.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had been with John O'Keefe and you were at the crime scene the night before?
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask that differently.
Did you inform Chief Berkowitz that you had been with John O'Keefe the night before?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I believe I may have told him at some point that I saw John at the waterfall.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had been at 34 Fairview?
I believe I did.
Did you tell him that your vehicle was parked just feet away from where John's body was discovered?
No, because I didn't know where he was discovered.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you and Brian Albert had a call at 2:22 in the morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you tell
Wow.
Chief Berkowitz that you had been flirting with John O'Keefe's girlfriend in the weeks prior to his death?
Oops.
No.
Of course not. Why would
Did
you
you ever
do
tell
that?
Chief Berkowitz about the nature of your interest in Miss Reed?
No, I don't believe so.
You don't think that's relevant? You don't think that would? I mean, you don't think that that's relevant? As an experienced federal investigator, you don't think that it's relevant to come forward with that information and be forthcoming with it? If it means that it could help their investigation in some way, anyway, why wouldn't you do that? Because it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that an experienced investigator would keep that information. You know, I mean, especially if you feel like it implicates Karen Reed in some way, since they're trying to say that this gives her motive, that there's some sort of motive for Karen Reed to hurt John because of her text exchange with you. So if that were the case, why wouldn't you come forward immediately and say, hey, listen, I don't know where you guys are at with this, but you should know that, you know, before it comes out later, because it will. So why not? Unless you have something to hide. I mean,
I think we got a super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. I think we got a super chat. I think we got
Calamity Jade, thank you so much. I love his Face ID, recognizes his ass. And all of these butt dials in his case have more talented asses than Nicki Minaj. I don't know about all that. Thank you, Calamity Jade. I appreciate you. As always.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had seen Mr. O'Keefe and Miss Reed the night before, and that Miss Reed had ignored you?
Objection.
Yeah, you didn't.
You can break that down, Mr. Jackson.
I mean, yeah.
If I may have just a moment.
I would totally follow up. Did you tell her that you saw her at the waterfall? Did you tell her that? At least that much?
You indicated just a second ago that when I asked, did you tell Chief Berkowitz that your Jeep was parked just feet away from where John O'Keefe's body was found, you said, I have no idea where John O'Keefe's body was found, correct?
That's correct.
You just spoken with Brian Albert, right?
He said in front of the house.
All he said was, John O'Keefe was found in front of the house. He didn't say right outside on my front lawn.
I believe he said he was found out in front of his house, unresponsive.
Okay. If he was out in front of his house, then you would know, because your Jeep was also parked out in front of his house, your Jeep would just be feet away from him, correct?
Objection.
Did you tell Chief Berkowitz that you had texted John O'Keefe to have him come over to 34 Fairview just hours before he was discovered dead in the yard?
No.
Why not?
Did you think any of that was important when talking to the Chief of Police of the Canton Police Department?
I'll let him have it.
No, I didn't. There was no reason to tell him.
You've been an investigator for some 15
just
years and you were a
showed up
firefighter
dead.
years before that, correct?
Yes.
You're very familiar with some of the tools that are used in conducting modern investigations, correct?
Yes.
You'd agree that searching electronic devices and phones is an incredibly important investigative tool that modern
Like,
investigators
there's no
use,
reason to
correct?
tell him if you feel like it's going to implicate you.
Are you
That's the
aware
only
that
reason you
searching
wouldn't tell
electronic
him.
devices is an important part of investigations?
Objection.
Are you aware of that, sir? Do you agree with that?
I've utilized phone data during the course of my investigations at times, yes.
Okay, so another way to put that is obviously phone data and electronic data is an important part of investigation.
Objection.
What time do you believe you got to Brian Albert's house that morning after you received the phone calls and woke up? What time did you make your way back over to Brian Albert's house?
Maybe around 7:15 in that area.
Was there any law enforcement presence there when you arrived?
I can't recall specifically. There could have been one police car. I'm not positive.
Did any officer ever ask you to take a look at your vehicle?
At what time?
That time. But actually at any time.
No, I to my knowledge, nobody from law enforcement associated with the investigation had ever asked to take a look at my vehicle.
So they certainly didn't ask that day, correct? On the 20.
What I'm saying is, to my knowledge, nobody has ever asked me that.
Right. So that's my point. I'm just trying to break it.
You want to tell me every instance when somebody could have asked me.
Correct.
Okay.
On the 29th, were you asked whether or not your vehicle could be searched?
Searched or inspected? What do you mean?
Either one.
Well, I would consider a search the inside of the vehicle more so than the outside. I would consider the outside more of an inspection. I would have been happy to show them it.
I'm sure you would have. I'm asking, did they ask?
No.
They didn't have to search it. They didn't have to inspect it.
No.
Of course not.
When you met with troopers, who was it that you met with on the 3rd of February?
Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan.
Did either Trooper Proctor or Trooper Buchanan ask to inspect your vehicle, otherwise search it?
Not.
No, they did not. And it should be noted, because I'm going to note it every fucking time. Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan are currently under internal affairs investigation.
To my recollection.
And to this day, nobody from Massachusetts State Police has ever indicated that they would inspect your vehicle.
No.
When you entered the house that morning, Brian Albert was there, Nicole Albert, Jim McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Albert Jr., and Julie Albert were all there. I'm sorry, had Julie Albert gotten there yet?
She came after me.
Okay, so at some point, all the people that I just tipped off, they were all inside the house.
Brian
right?
Albert Jr., Nicole, Brian, Matt, and Jen.
You all discussed the incident together, correct?
I wouldn't describe it that way, no.
Did each of you discuss your own perspectives about what had happened the night before in the early morning hours?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
People were in shock at the table, trying to figure out what happened. The math didn't make sense. John and the defendant never showed up. People were in shock.
Trying to figure out what to say, right?
No,
And you were all talking within earshot of each other, right?
we were all there in the kitchen talking together.
At this meeting,
The math didn't add up. What math? I mean, you have to have something to add together or put together, right? What math? I mean, John had to have gotten there somehow. You're discussing the fact that Officer John O'Keefe, ended up dead on the lawn of 34 Fairview. You're discussing it in the kitchen. A group conversation, right? What math? Because you had to have something. I mean, because if you honestly didn't know, you'd been like, well, I mean, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. I have no idea. You never came in the house? No. Okay. Let's see. I'm super chatting, so I don't know. Throw my phone. Kim, thank you so much. Second view, I see the BS loud and clear. This trial is an embarrassment to all U.S. citizens. I completely agree. Thank you so much, Kim. I completely agree. And most everybody here agrees with you as well.
and these were friends and family, correct?
Excuse me?
These were friends and family amongst themselves, and you being a friend, these are friends and family inside that house discussing this incident, correct?
Yes.
So at this meeting, you actually instructed Jennifer McCabe to call Canton PD and ask someone to come back.
Objection.
Sustained as to that form. You can ask it to happen.
At some point, did an officer come back to re-interview Jen McCabe?
Yes.
Jen McCabe had told you that she had information about something that Ms. Reed had said, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Did she tell you that morning?
She didn't specifically tell me anything. She made a statement at the table to the group of people and she clearly seemed like she was in shock. She was upset. And she made a statement, something to the effect that Karen had opined that she had hit John.
What she actually said was, I hope I didn't hit him, correct?
Objection.
It's not what I heard. No.
Who did you ever tell this to?
I've reported that.
That she said, I hit him?
Yes, I've reported it.
What you reported was Karen said, I hope I didn't hit him. And you said, oh, you need to tell Canton PD that. Isn't that right?
No, I don't think that's what I said. No.
You're sure about that as you are about that 222 call, right?
Objection.
Mr. Higgins, what time did you leave Brian Albert's house?
It would have been, I believe, when Sergeant Lank arrived, and I think Lieutenant Gallagher might have been with him.
You weren't scheduled to work that. PD that. Isn't that right?
No,
I love Jackson like just slipping in the jabs. I fucking love it.
I don't think that's what I said. No.
You're sure about that as you are about that 222 call, right?
Objection.
Mr. Higgins, what time did you leave?
It would have been, I believe, when Sergeant Lank arrived, and I think Lieutenant Gallagher might have been with him.
You weren't scheduled to work that Saturday, correct?
No.
Matter of fact, you weren't on duty at all.
No, I wasn't.
But you didn't go home and get some sleep or run errands. You went directly to Canton PD from 34 Fairview yet again, didn't you?
Who could sleep after somebody just was discovered like that?
Did you go home? Or did you
I don't believe I did, no. I believe there might have been a stop at Canton PD before I went home.
Who could sleep after doing all that blow at 34 Fairview? Who could sleep after hanging out in 34 Fairview with all those people?
I like it.
Matter of fact, you didn't just stop at Canton PD. You spent the entire day at Canton PD on the 29th, didn't you?
I don't know that I spent the entire day there, no.
Well, you've got a key card, right?
I do have a key card.
And that key card logs swipes.
That's correct.
It logs where you go, access to, and access inside the
Yes.
Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
When you got to Canton PD, and you're telling this jury, you don't know how long you spent there.
I don't know how long I spent there. I don't know if I left and I came back. I don't recall.
So if the records indicate that you were there from 9 a.m.-ish, after 5.
I don't know how the records would indicate that.
They weren't his friends. I'm going to show you exactly why soon, if we get to it today.
I'll show you in a second.
Okay.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak again to Brian Albert?
I don't remember.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak again to Chief Berkowitz?
Most likely.
While you were at Canton PD, did you speak with Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert?
I don't believe so.
Oh no, I know hate corruption.
Your Honor, may I approach this one? Yes. Yeah, this particular area, but I just want to see if you recognize it. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a 167-page document. Just take a glance. Obviously, don't read the whole thing. Just glance through it and tell me if you recognize what that is.
So it says Canton Police, all events logged by day.
So don't read it out loud, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Just
no.
do you recognize
Yes, I
it?
do. Okay.
May I approach?
Yes.
This appears to be a log of key swipes in and around Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
And it's in reverse chronological order, in other words.
I didn't note that, but okay.
Okay. You acknowledge that that is a record of the key swipes that everybody uses moving in and around Canton PD, going through doors. Every place that needs a key swipe is logged.
I would assume that's what that is, yes.
It shows that you entered Canton PD for the first time on the 29th at 1:27 a.m. Does that sound about right when you got there? You say to move your cars.
It's possible.
All right. It shows that you were granted access to floor corridor 227. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
What about floor corridor 226 on the second floor?
Second floor would make sense because I went in the building and then to the second floor.
Let me have just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
By the way, did Brian ever mention what time the officers cleared the scene?
No.
Without telling me the
I
substance of the
mean,
conversation.
it's so fucking clear. Like, whatever the fuck, dude. I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know. But it sure as fuck seems like that period of time. I mean, we're talking about almost 30 minutes, if not 30 minutes, to make a 5-minute drive. I mean, he's got to be lying about when he left the house. I mean, what if they were brainstorming, trying to figure out what to do? John's near death, and they're trying to figure out what to do, and they're like, go to the Canton PD and swipe your card. And when anybody asks, this is where you were there. You swipe your card, the log will be there. You say that you had to do some administrative stuff, moving cars at 1:30 in the morning. Because I mean, the shit just stinks like a reason to like try to cover up where he was. That's what it feels like. Going to the Canton PD for what reason? Because everything that he's saying sounds shady and shifty as fuck. I went there to do administrative work, administrative things. Those administrative things were to move cars around. That makes no sense. That sounds weak as fuck.
Did he tell you when he talked to you at 7:20 or?
Not that I recall, no.
But you remember by the time you got there, the scene had basically been cleared. There wasn't a bunch of emergency vehicles, crime scene tape, nothing like that.
I didn't see fire trucks. I might have saw a cruiser. I can't be sure. I don't recall.
But you're not sure about that either.
Sorry,
You're not sure about even seeing a cruiser, correct?
Not 100%, no.
Certainly, we're not contacted by a.
So when he's back at the house in the morning, everything's gone and nothing is preserved. And yet all of these people who we know are lying are at this house with the crime scene completely and totally fucking exposed.
A law enforcement officer who took your name and ID or anything like that.
No.
Parked and walked in the house.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach one more time?
Yes.
Same thing. I'd like to have that document marked as next in order base pages. It represents base pages 28.
Right. Casually not seeing a dead guy in the yard. Right.
3016.
All right, so marked for identification. Is there an agreement this is coming in, Mr. Lally?
Fucking wild,
No.
man.
All right, so that's marked for
This guy's
identification.
a fucking federal agent and he's dodging questions and he's lying.
Next in order.
Hold on, I'm going to skip to.
Thank you.
Were you being provided information from your friend, Chief Berkowitz, about the progress of the investigation?
No.
Were you providing your friend, Brian Albert, information about the progress of the investigation or what you perceived it to be?
No, I didn't have any information on the investigation.
May I just
Sure.
I call bullshit on that.
You were not interviewed about this case in any formal capacity until 5 days later, correct?
That sounds about right.
February 1st, Trooper Proctor?
I'm not exactly sure the date, but it was several days after, yes.
I'm sorry, I said February 1st, maybe it's February 3rd.
I don't know the date, but we were into February.
Where did that interview take place?
Sharon, Mass.
I'm sorry?
Sharon, Mass.
At what location?
Sorry?
What location?
I'll see counsel very quickly inside that.
Dude, how hard is it? Like, where were you? Was it a police station? Was it somebody's fucking house? What was the location where you were interviewed? Why is that difficult? Why is there a sidebar over that? Why is there an objection?
By the time you interviewed with Trooper Proctor, you had already had numerous conversations with Brian Albert. Is that safe to say?
Well, the interview was with both Trooper Proctor,
Right.
Sergeant Buchanan, and of course I've talked to Brian Albert because of what took place.
That was a yes or no question.
Yeah, of course I've talked to him, yes.
Okay, the answer is yes, right? Can we agree?
The answer is yes.
Thank you. By the time you spoke with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, you'd already had numerous conversations with Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Yes.
You'd already had numerous conversations with Kevin Albert.
Yes.
You'd already had this meeting with the Alberts and the McCabe's over at 34 Fairview. Is that right?
I went to the house.
And discussed this case, as you earlier described in your testimony.
I discussed what we were trying to figure out what happened.
You discussed this case, Mr. Higgins.
Well, at that point, it wasn't a case.
Okay, I'm not.
What do you mean it wasn't a case?
Matter versus an issue.
At that point, it wasn't a case. What do you mean it wasn't a case? The guy's dead on the lawn. He's a cop. How is it not a case? The fuck are you talking about?
You understood my question, didn't you?
Yes.
Is there a reason you don't want to answer that question?
I don't have a problem.
Objection, Your Honor.
No. Is there a reason? Why don't you go ahead and explain?
Well, I feel you're trying to make it sound like something it wasn't.
I'm not trying to make it sound like anything, sir. I'm asking the question. Had you discussed this case or the issues surrounding this case with those folks?
I did discuss things when I went back to the house, yes.
And that was before you met with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan.
Yes, that's correct.
You'd already spent an enormous amount of time at Canton PD. We've just gone through those records. Is that right?
I have been at Canton PD, yes.
And you had been able to talk to, you had access at least to all the officers, correct?
What do you mean by
everybody that was coming and going at Canton PD?
Access for what purpose?
Just to walk by them, to hear what they were saying, see what they were doing.
Yeah, it's not what I was doing, no.
I'm not accusing you of doing anything. I'm saying you had access to the individuals within the Canton PD, correct?
Right.
To interact if needed, yes.
And very obviously, you had access to the Sally Port.
And access, yes, and that's a cut through I used all the time.
And anything that was in it, correct?
I wouldn't need anything in it.
It was only after all that Michael Proctor thought that you were worthy of a conversation.
Objection.
I'll rephrase it. It was only after all of that that you were interviewed by Michael Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, correct?
I wasn't interviewed to the following days. That's correct.
Glad
At
you're
some
here,
point on
Karen
February 4th,
Kruger.
Chief Berkowitz called you to personally inform you that he had personally found taillight at 34 Fairview. Is that right?
He did tell me that, yes.
And to be clear, that's the same Ken Berkowitz that you were with in the Sally Port.
I don't recall being in the Sally Port with him, no.
What did you do with that information when you learned from Chief Berkowitz that he personally saw a taillight piece as he drove by?
I didn't do anything with the information.
Did you call Brian Albert?
No, Brian Albert called me.
You were asked a specific question in the other proceeding in June of 2023, correct?
I don't know if it was the specific question. I was asked a series of questions on how the phone calls came in. That's what I was asked.
And your answer was, it's 100% probable that I told him about that, meaning I told Brian Albert about my conversation with Ken Berkowitz, correct?
It's possible.
Was that your statement or not?
It was my statement then, but I've thought about it, yes.
And you've changed your statement somehow?
I don't know if I changed my statement, but I think the way the phone calls came in is Brian Albert told me, you're not going to believe what was found on the front lawn. And then I believe Ken Berkowitz told me he found the taillight. And I'm referring to the taillight from the both of them. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Well,
information was provided to me.
What you actually said was, it's 100% probable that I told him about that. Yes, 100%. I'm not hiding that fact. But you're asking me if I recollect specifically. I know I called him after
Objection, Your Honor.
All right, so
Why?
Too many facts. Go slowly.
Sure.
Too many facts. What do you mean? It's vital to his fucking testimony. It's vital that the jury sees that he is fucking lying, or he was at least Either he was lying then or he's lying now.
Yes, 100%, correct?
In that testimony, I did, yes.
And then in that testimony, you went on to say, I'm not hiding that fact, but you're asking me if I recollect specifically, correct?
I don't have it in front of me. That's what you're telling me.
You went on to say, I know I called him after that phone call, correct?
I don't know.
And you went on to say, if that's when Chief Berkowitz told me, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this, end quote. That was your statement.
Objection.
Prior hearing, correct?
I'm going to strike the end part.
Why are you striking the end
Yes.
part? Why isn't that
You said you don't
admissible?
recall that entire testimony, right?
Not that portion, but I know I was asked about how the phone calls came in and what was said.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection to see transcript of your answer?
Is this it right here?
That's it.
I'm going to read it.
Ma'am,
Yes.
does that refresh your recollection of what your testimony was under oath in June of 2023?
I do.
And you said, today, Junior? If that's what Chief Berkowitz told me, I didn't do anything wrong in this, correct?
That was the statement I made, yes.
Why did you say, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this?
Objection.
Why'd you say that?
Because I felt they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain what was going on. And what I had said over that was, I believe what I said, something to the effect, I can't be 100% positive. And then when I went on to say, it's probable. But I felt like they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain how the phone calls came in. I've had time to reflect about it after that, since that testimony. And that information about the taillight that was found was provided by each person. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Next question. Thank you. You said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this because it looks like you and Ken Berkowitz were colluding to provide information to Brian Albert, correct?
Wow.
Correct.
Absolutely not correct. That's wrong.
You knew that was going to look like collusion, which is why you said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this.
Exactly.
Mr. Higgins, if you wanted to get rid of, and you've dealt with cell phones and electronic devices in your career many, many times, right?
Oh, my career, yes.
Probably one of them, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
If you wanted to destroy evidence on your cell phone, what kind of steps might you take to do that?
Objection.
If you wanted to just get rid of information on your cell phone that would be unrecoverable, what steps might you take?
Objection.
Do you know how to get rid of information on your cell phone?
Objection.
That's allowed. You can answer that.
Do I know how to get rid of information? I mean, I think there's different ways. You could possibly wipe your phone.
Anything else?
You could wipe your phone.
You can
Factory
destroy your
reset.
phone.
Factory reset might be one, wiping your phone, taking the SIM card out.
I don't know that the SIM card is going to take information that's on the phone out.
So that might be one avenue. You can break the SIM card in half or snap it.
It could, yes.
You know, the SIM card stores an enormous amount of data that the phone's just break, right?
No, I don't know that.
Okay. You could also, if you take the SIM card out, you just get rid of the phone somehow, right? Just destroy it.
Yes.
Might even consult with some kind of an expert to help learn how to permanently erase things from a phone, like a forensics expert, for instance.
Objection.
Here we go.
On Saturday, January 29th, you spent much of the morning at Brian Albert's house, and then the rest of the day variously at Canton PD. You agree with that, correct?
No, you said I spent much of the morning at Brian Albert's house?
Correct. In other words, you went over there at whatever it was, 7:50, 8 o'clock, something like that, and then until about 9 o'clock.
No, I got over there around 7 o'clock, and I was there less than an hour. I wasn't there most of the day.
Okay.
I never went back there.
So you spent time at Brian Albert's house, then much of the rest of the day at Canton PD, correct?
Yes.
And then the very next day, that Sunday, you called a friend of yours, a guy named Matt Kelch, didn't you?
Yeah, he's my best friend. Yes.
And he's a special agent with the FBI, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Was he then?
He's never been a special agent with FBI. He's a special agent with ATF.
My mistake. I thought he was with the FBI. He's a federal special agent.
He's a federal agent,
He's a
right?
coworker of mine, yes.
Which makes him a federal special agent, right?
An ATF agent, yes.
And does he work for or have access to the Regional Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes, he works over there.
Okay, that's the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
That's how I got my mistake. I apologize.
Well, I just want to make sure the record's reflected correctly.
You and me both. So you reflected it correctly. So Matt Kelch is an ATF agent who works at the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
And he's an expert in digital forensics, is he not?
He has a level of expertise more than myself,
And
yes.
he's one of your best friends.
He is my best friend.
You spoke to him about the death of John O'Keefe, did you not?
Yes.
And you asked him for a personal favor, sort of off the books, correct?
He's my best friend. He's not just one of my best friends. He's my bestest friend in everything in the whole wide world.
Gay!
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain you.
Did you ask him for a personal favor?
No.
Did you ask him to show you or consult with you how to pull things off of your phone that you decide to get off your phone?
I asked him how I could pull text strings off my cellular telephone for the purpose of providing them to law enforcement.
This was not in connection with any case that he was working, correct?
That's correct.
It was not in connection with any case you were working, correct?
Objection.
Objection sustained, but you already answered. I'll strike that answer. Second question you can answer. Is this in connection to any case you?
No, Your Honor.
Next question.
But you asked your friend to utilize his resources to teach you how to extract certain information off your phone. Is that what you did?
I asked him if it was possible to get this off, if there was a method to get this off my phone so I could provide it to law enforcement.
And that information was selected by you, correct?
Two particular text threads, yes.
Right. In other words, there was nobody else that was picking and choosing what to get off your phone. That was just you.
It was me, yes.
And the reason you did that, Mr. Higgins, is that you wanted to control and limit the amount of information that was pulled off your phone, right?
Objection.
Is that why you did it?
No, I did it because I wanted to provide it to law enforcement, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
You could have just provided your phone to law enforcement and let them image the entire thing, correct?
I guess that was an option, yes.
And you knew that was an option at the time. And you're a trained ATF agent.
What's the question?
You knew it was an option to just hand your phone over. Just pick it up and give it to them.
And there was also an option to provide it to them as well.
Right. But you chose the one that you got to select the information, not the one where they would get everything, correct?
Objection.
Yikes.
Did you actually go to the FBI computer forensics lab?
Yes. Let me correct that. I didn't go to the lab itself. I went to a kiosk, what they refer to as a kiosk on the first floor over at FBI.
Okay.
And all local PDs, law enforcement have access to that.
And that's obviously.
It's an unrestricted area. You can be in there, as I understand it, unaccompanied if you're local law enforcement. It's on the first floor.
That is a federal facility, however.
Yes, it is.
Did you utilize any computer or data, any
He's a terrible
data extraction
liar. You see he's turning red?
machinery, if you will, a computer or something to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use the word machine. I don't know what it's called either. So you hooked that phone up to a machine, correct?
Yes.
And that machine belonged to the FBI. It didn't belong to you. Is that right?
That's correct.
So that was a federal resource, not for anything having to do with any official case that you were working. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I need to see you. I know this is complicated. I need to see you.
Right. Within 20 minutes of this guy,
To see you. I know this is complicated. I need to.
within 20 minutes of this guy on with this guy who's on the stand, within 20 minutes of him being physically held back and restrained by Chris and Brian Albert because he is motioning to John O'Keefe in an angry fashion to go outside and meet him outside. And 20 minutes later, John O'Keefe shows up 34 Fairview and is dead. That is not a coincidence to me, folks.
I need to see you.
I mean, if I'm making sense of everything, you know what I mean? Like, all I'm saying is dude needs to be investigated. I'm not saying he did it. I'm saying dude needs to be thoroughly investigated. And then, of course, right, Truth Seekers and Pop and Law. There's the 3 liters of blood. It's not pints, it's liters. It's 3 liters of blood that are missing, that are unaccounted for from John. And that never comes up in trial either, which I always found was kind of interesting. I mean, you're allowed to disagree. That's okay.
Yes.
So,
machinery, if you will, a computer or something to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use the word machine. I don't know what it's called either. So you hooked that phone up to a machine, correct?
Yes.
And that machine belonged to the FBI. It didn't belong to you. Is that right?
That's correct.
So that was a federal resource, not for anything having to do with any official case that you were working. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I need to see you. I know this is complicated. I need to
all
see
right. And here we go. And Karen's face here, I've used it in thumbnails because she's like, they're about to tell her what's going on here. Yep, right there. Jackson just told her we're about to nail this asshole for fucking using federal resources for personal use. He just admitted to a crime.
While we're doing that, counsel, come on back. Yes.
Oh, it's in the flooring, Laura Simmons. It's in the same exact place you'd find Chloe, in my opinion.
Advocate. May I ask the advocate?
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how we do
I don't
that.
know. Is that in reference to the key swipes? Yeah, I don't know.
Lynn and Coco, welcome. Thanks for watching all the way from the UK. I love it. I don't remember exactly when the flooring was removed.
We may as well use this time with me asking counsel a question at sidebar.
Sidebar.
Make an offer of proof of a question. If you just go and just stand next to your client, Mr. Jackson's going to make an offer of proof of a question he's about to ask your client, or a couple of questions he's about to ask your client. Doesn't make any sense to me that somebody has counsel and the counsel is not aware of a potential issue. So you'll hear the offer of proof. I'll let you speak to Mr. Higgins before this actually happens before the jury.
Could I just have him identify?
Yes, I was just going to ask you to identify yourself.
Sure, my name is William Connolly, spelled C-O-N-N-O-L.
Hold on.
Of a client or a couple of the Mr. Client, doesn't make any sense to me that somebody has counsel and the counsel is not aware of a potential issue. So you'll hear the offer of proof. I'll let you speak yourself.
The witness has indicated that he utilized federal resources for personal gain. The specifics of that testimony have been as follows. He indicated that he contacted Matt Kelch, a federal agent. He indicated that he utilized a federal facility. He called it an unsecure facility, but it's a federal facility notwithstanding. And that the two of them, he and Agent Kelch, utilized federal resources in the form of some kind of a machine, as the witness indicated, for his own personal gain, so that he could, as a witness, in no official capacity, work in any official case, and in Matt Kelch's capacity as an individual rather than an agent, they both worked together to download certain information from the witness's phone in anticipation of turning that highly selected, highly curated information over to law enforcement so that he could later ultimately destroy his phone, which this witness, in fact, did.
Okay, so it's not entirely, I disagree with you. I don't think it's reached that level. His
Kick someone's ass or become someone's bitch.
testimony was that he went to a kiosk on the first floor where all local police departments can go. It's unrestricted. It's on the first floor. And we just got to the part about a machine in the kiosk when you mentioned an FBI resource. So what is your question? What questions do you intend to ask this witness now?
Whether he's aware that under 5 CFR 2635.702, it is a federal offense to use his public office, to use any public office for his own private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally.
Woo!
In other words, an FBI agent or an ATF agent cannot use federal resources for personal gain. The fact that he contacted an ATF agent, the fact that he utilized a facility that is owned by the federal government, run by the federal government, paid for by taxpayer dollars, and the fact that he used a machine that is owned by the federal government to download certain information for his own personal gain, that personal gain being, these are the curated texts and I'm going to turn over to law enforcement, that's a federal offense.
All right, so those questions are going to
Yikes.
I don't know, there's been an objection to them. I'm not sure I'm going to let them in, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak privately with your client in the back room there. Can you do it in short order? Do you need
I
more
can
time?
do it in about 10 seconds.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
If you feel the need.
So why don't we go?
Now remember, just remember that 22 seconds is way too short of a time to have a conversation. But 10 seconds, more than enough time to confer with your attorney when you're sitting on the stand and being accused of committing a federal crime. Just saying. So, according to Brian Higgins, 22 seconds, not nearly enough time to have a conversation with Brian Albert. Must have been a butt dial. Okay. But 10 seconds is just enough time, more than enough time, for an attorney to confer with their client when they're being accused in open court in a murder trial of a federal crime. Now, I can't take credit for this. Someone else pointed this out. A lot of people actually did, but someone made a very funny video when this first happened. And I was like, wow, nice.
Why don't you go back and talk to him? I'll stop bringing the jury or getting the jury lined up to come back. Okay?
All right, here we go. Let's see.
Do you need anything? No, I'm just gonna grab a spelling roll. That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so we're ready to proceed?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you.
So let's bring the jurors in, please.
I love all your optimism, but it's going to take about 2 minutes to get here. So, yeah.
Apologize to me. Apologize to me.
Do you want these?
Be seated for the session.
All right. We have a very few minutes left, Mr. Jackson.
Understood. Mr. Higgins, you indicated that the phone was hooked up to some sort of machine at the FBI kiosk, correct?
Yes.
You're aware, sir, that under 5 CFR 2635.702, you may not use your public office for your own personal or private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally under pain of a federal offense, correct?
Objection.
No, Your Honor.
Are you aware that under 5 CFR 2634.704, it's a felony to quote?
Objection, Your Honor, as to reading.
Go ahead and finish the question.
For an employee, an employee has a duty to preserve and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Were you aware of that federal regulation?
That objection sustained.
Sir, notwithstanding those regulations, you utilized the services of Matt Kelch as a friend and a colleague, but utilizing federal resources to pull information off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained as to that form.
In fact, you were successful in getting information off your phone, which is the text that you turned over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Objection.
In that form, you're almost there, Mr. Jackson. That form was improper.
The information that was ultimately pulled off your phone was the information that you selected and you and Matt Kelch worked together to get off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, if I could explain.
Sure.
He walked me through on how I could pull the text string with John O'Keefe and the defendant. He walked me through the process, how to use the machine.
And then you did that?
I did do that. That's
And
correct.
that's what you turned over to the police?
That's correct.
And any other information would still be on your phone ending in 5421, correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State Police.
Okay, so where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights.
My bad. Sorry. Did you or did you not get rid of the phone? Nobody's asking you about whether or not you had the right to do it. Nobody's saying who gives a fuck about your rights, bro. Like nobody's questioning your rights here. Destroying the phone, throwing it away, tomato. Dude, you think I'm just gonna fucking chances are he's probably got the latest iPhone at the time. You can get money for that shit. You know what I mean? You get money for that shit. Nobody is just gonna fucking throw away their phone unless they're trying to hide something.
I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that? Did you pull the SIM card out?
Objection.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone?
Your Honor.
And let's not forget that he was under court order to not do anything to that phone.
The best of my recollection, if I did take the SIM card out, I would have if I was when I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it. But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone,
So yeah, like, you know, so do you mean that in the OJ way? Like, if I were to do this, if I were to get rid of the SIM card, this is what I would do.
Away, that's what I would have done.
Okay.
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
Sustained. Mr. Jackson, that's it.
Your Honor,
One more question.
I can do this in 30 seconds. I think you were aware that that there was a court order that you not alter, delete, or destroy, or in any way manipulate your phone or the electronic data associated with it. Correct?
Objection.
Oops.
As to what date?
As of September 23rd. I'm sorry, September 30th, 2022.
Objection. I don't believe that's what the court order was. I think
I made a quick offer of proof. That's exactly what it was. It was notified.
Yeah, with Lally.
Were you aware of that? Was that your understanding?
Have a
What's the
seat,
question
Mr.
exactly? I'm
Lally.
sorry.
That's the question. again.
Sure. Were you served with
Have
a
a
copy
seat,
of
Mr.
notice
Lally.
on September 30th, 2022, that you not alter or destroy or manipulate anything on your phone on September 30th?
I was served an order. Yes, that's correct.
And isn't it true in another hearing, you explained that on September 29th, the day before you claimed you got that notice, you changed phone carriers and changed phone numbers
And I maintained the phone.
until you didn't. When you
Right.
destroyed it a month later by pulling the SIM card out and throwing it away, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that in October? Did you destroy that phone?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone, Mr. Higgins?
Did you?
It's possible that I did. I believe that's how I've testified. Yes.
You testified
It's
that-
possible that if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken,
It's not just possible.
So that
and that would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question left. One question. Did you, Mr. Lowry's already standing. I haven't even started.
have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please. Quiet. Mr. Higgins, very simply, and then we're done. Did you remove the SIM card for that phone, drive onto a military base, throw the SIM card in one dumpster and the phone in a different dumpster?
That is not correct.
Did you testify
That was your one question, Mr. Jackson.
All right, folks, that's it for today. We will see you Tuesday. Have a great long weekend, please. It's very important to not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. We will see you on Tuesday. Tuesday will be a full.
All right. So, oh my goodness. Why is Cherry yelling at me again? All right. What? Okay, guys. Something just came across my desk, so to speak. I got this screenshot, and so it says here, I know I wish I had the entire document, but it says here the charges of witness intimidation brought against the plaintiff's appellants in this matter for their protest taking place on November 5th, 2023 outside D&E Pizza and Subs were recently dismissed by Stoughton District Court for lack of probable cause. The Canton Police Department is currently reviewing its ability to appeal these findings. Helena Rafferty. So, Helena Rafferty, so the Canton 9 were charged, and recently these charges were dismissed, right? The Canton 9 were charged on November 5th, 2023, outside D&E Pizza. Cherry, do me a favor real quick. I'm feeling saucy. If you can, send me that phone call from Ken Mello. Because I need to go over that again. Yeah, this is just wild. Because let's think about this for a second, folks. Let's think about Helena Rafferty, the chief of police at the Canton Police Department, apparently has nothing better to do but to appeal. They dropped the charges against them because there's nothing to charge them with. They are exercising their First Amendment rights. They weren't bothering anyone. They weren't hurting anyone. They most certainly were not intimidating anyone. They were across the street. Chris Albert he sicked his dog, being Ken Mello, who's the lapdog for and mouthpiece for Michael Morrissey when it comes to dealing with Turtle Boy. So Chris Albert, 6 Ken Mello on the Canton 9, who are doing a peaceful standout across the street from D&E Pizza to protest the corruption in their town, seeing as Chris Albert sits on the select board. So Chris Albert decides to weaponize the Canton Police Department, saying that he feels intimidated, even though we've seen footage of Chris Albert feeling intimidated in front of D&E Pizza. We've seen footage of him threatening to smash Turtle Boy's face on the road, right? I mean, it's just fascinating to me that Helena Rafferty thinks that this is a priority. That Helena Rafferty believes that it's a priority to nail these people on an to weaponize an unconstitutional law. And these members of the Canton Police Department did not want to go through with this. The sergeant that spoke to Ken Mello on the phone, which we heard a recording of, which hopefully I can get again. Well, we hear the sergeant saying, well, they're allowed to protest. I believe those were his exact words when Ken Mello calls him and tries to send them over there. And he says, well, they're allowed to protest. And then they hang up. And then Ken Mello calls back and says, take a look at chapter 28, section 13A and 13B. Do me a favor and take a look at that. And then tell me if you, can't do anything about this. Because that's got to be a bad look on Chief Rafferty. That's got to be a real bad look on Rafferty. I mean, besides running down a fucking elderly pedestrian with her car, I mean, that's already a bad enough look. Besides asking for $100,000 for a new kitchen, when we have information that these people don't even have the right fucking baggies to preserve evidence of a crime scene. But she wants $100,000. Terry, did you get that for me? I see you in the chat. Did you get that phone call? I want to get that the phone call of Ken Mello calling the Canton Police Department. Please, I'd really appreciate it. I mean, I'm only asking because you got it for me quick last time. So I don't know where you got it from. And I like that they tried to do something to Turtle Boy's channel for playing this, because I played it many times and I'm going to continue to play it. I'm going to continue to play it while this bullshit goes on and on. I had no reason really. I mean, I probably would have played it again in regards to Turtle Boy's case. But the fact is this law, which is already unconstitutional. This has been reiterated by Tim Bradle, Mark Betterow, Mark Randazza. This has all been stated to be an unconstitutional law. And all you have to do is look up the First Amendment, and it's right there. And this is thanks to Deanna Corby.
Yep, gun recording sergeant, so basically speaking.
Yes, Sergeant, is that what you have?
Who would you like to speak with, sir?
My name is Ken Mello. I'm a prosecutor with the Norfolk DA's office. Can I speak with your shift commander?
Well, I'm on duty right now. We have a lieutenant, too. But how can I help you?
Okay. There's a protest going on outside B&E. Would you mind sending a car down there just to make sure that they're
we'll take a look.
Not intimidating this?
And what's your name again?
Would you mind sending a car down there in order to intimidate them? Put a little scare into them?
My name is Attorney Ken Mello.
And who are you working for?
I'm the special prosecutor.
Okay.
Regarding Aiden Kearney.
Got. All right. So the prosecutor, you said there's people outside B&E.
Right.
Okay. We'll
just have a cruise go by. Make sure there's nothing.
We'll check it out.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Roger. Hey, Mike. I got a call from Kenneth Mello. He's the special prosecutor, I guess.
686 has that. Let me know.
Anyways, there's some protesters out in front of D&E, so Zeph is going to take a drive-by.
Yeah, they can protest.
I know. We're just going to take a drive-by. Just get the attorney's question. We just be sure we stop by, take a look.
So that's the cops right there just saying, dude, what the fuck is the problem? They can protest. Yeah, we're just going to drive by. Like, this guy's asking us to do it. Let's just fucking do it. Get it over with. We're just going to drive by there. Right?
So, all right. I'll catch you. Bye-bye.
I mean, what's the harm in driving by? It's fine. Whatever. It'll shut him up.
Slocks.
Hi, Mr. Mello. It's Sergeant Silvesi. I just spoke to you. Oh, 1 second.
Yes, sir.
1 second, sir. Roger. Ben off just swing by. I said there's 4 people like across the street holding signs. They weren't right in front. They were across the street. They're not impeding traffic, but so it seems kind of mellow. A small group now.
All right. Okay. Very good. If they can just swing by there once in a while, I'd appreciate
we'll keep on making passes. You know.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it,
sir. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Now, Ken Mello hangs up the phone here.
The next recorded line.
Ken Mello hangs up the phone here, not satisfied. States that he's satisfied, basically. Okay, well, just drive by there, fine. I mean, if I got to settle for a little, police presence style intimidation, okay, fine. All right.
Hi, Officer Nick.
Then he calls back.
This is Attorney Ken Mello. I believe I just spoke with your sergeant there. Is he still available? So this is Attorney Ken Mel. I believe I just spoke with your sergeant there.
Okay, now a lot of people thought that he said this is the Attorney General, but he doesn't. He said this is Ken Mello. This is Attorney Ken Mello.
Hi, Officer Nix. This is Attorney Ken Mel. I believe I just spoke with your sergeant there. Is he still available?
He's not. He just stepped out. Actually, he's walking back in the room, sir. Hold on one.
Okay,
Let me put you on hold and I'll have him pick up, okay?
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, sir.
How can I help you?
Hi, Sergeant Ken Mello again.
No problem.
Do me a favor. Take a look at Chapter 268, Section 13A.
Oh, Chapter 268.
268.
My bad.
13A.
Okay. I'll go ahead and get a book. Oh, 1 second, sir.
Okay. You give me a call back if you want, okay?
Okay, yes, sir, Mr. Mello. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Take a look at that. Tell me what you think.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Mello, Sergeant Silvesi. So it looked up. So what do you want? What are you thinking of doing?
Right. What do you want us to do?
Enough to charge him, to be honest with you, at least this person. I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
You know, but it looks like
if I'm this cop and I'm a patriot, I'm going like this. Is this fucker serious right now? Charge him with standing out there with signs, charging them for exercising their First Amendment right? Like he just sits there quiet. He didn't know what to say. He knows he takes orders from the DA's office. He knows the kind of this guy's. He didn't become sergeant by being stupid. He became sergeant knowing that this is coming from the guy who is trying to nail Turtle Boy and he knows that there's something personal going on here. He knows it. And he knows it's coming from Michael Morrissey's office. And he knows that somebody is going to tell him, hey, what the fuck? Somebody's going to put a microscope on him if he doesn't do what this guy says.
every single requirement of that statute.
Okay, so we just go up there. You want us to write a report and try to document who was there? Who's there?
Yeah, if you could do that. Yeah, please, if you can do that. I mean, I check with your lieutenant. I don't want to, I'm not an officer in your department, but I'm looking at that statute and saying they're across the street. They're certainly near Albert's place.
All right. He's a witness, and they're certainly there for purposes of influencing or whatever else the statute states. Okay. They're not there for any other reason. All right. So it's punishable by no more than a year in prison and
my bad.
And fine of no more than $5,000. So correct. All right. So we can go up there. We can try to figure out. I mean, I think we could probably figure out a couple of them. Maybe not all of them where they are, because we can ask them and they can just tell us, pound sand, not tell them, and we try to find them, see where cars they go to or whatever. Yeah. And then I guess we can go from there and just sure. I mean, I don't know if you can reach.
You're right.
To see what
he's not the Albert's lawyer, but I mean, isn't he though? Officially, he's no longer is, I don't think, but he was the special prosecutor brought on by Michael Morrissey to handle Turtle Boy's case. Then he does this, right? So Turtle Boy's already been charged. Then Chris Albert basically weaponized this guy, used the special prosecutor as though it's his lawyer. Called him up like, hey, you need to do something about this. Stick the cops on him.
He feels about it, or okay, great. I appreciate it very much, Sergeant.
No problem, sir.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
As for tonight, it is Harris's running mate.
All right, I can't look at that for some reason. Cherry sent me something, but I can't access it. Okay. Yeah, I got it right here. Oh, no, I can't open it. I don't have this software for it. You got to send it to me another way, Cherry. We may not even get to it today because this is already a really long stream. I'll just go over it tomorrow. Whatever it is. I mean, if it's worth going over, then I'll go over it, but I'll go over it tomorrow. But I'm sorry about that, guys. But guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm going to be doing this more. I'm going to be going over quite a few of these testimonies. And it'll give us something to talk about while we're waiting for the next hearing coming up. And as well as the again, I'm going to be doing a lot more on the Sandra Birchmore case as well. But whatever's going on as far as this document that Cherry sent me, I can't access it unfortunately, but we'll figure it out between us, and then I'll go over it tomorrow if I can. All right, but you guys are amazing. I really appreciate all you guys hanging out with me. You guys are absolutely fantastic. It means the world to me that you guys hung out with me, especially for as long as you did. You're fantastic. I am going to wrap this up. You guys are fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to hit the like for me if you haven't already. And to all you new subscribers, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoy the channel. And make sure to subscribe if you're not already, if you're enjoying the channel. So, and thank you guys for all of the support. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you so much. And yes, merch is available. Hate corruption. Merch is available. And also in the description, the link to Karen Reed's Defense Fund is in there. So make sure to donate to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. If it's within your means to be able to do so, she would really appreciate it. I'm sure. I know I really appreciate it. So guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. I love you guys very much. All right. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.